going to do street talk now, and there were so many
You make
things.
it sound so serious. All right.
Right.
Suppose we better do. It's Christmas time. Hooray! We're going to
Hooray.
talk Christmassy merry street talk stuff.
So
Many storylines.
there were many storylines because they crammed in an amazing 67 cast members into the Christmas Day episode.
Yes, they did.
Which is the highest ever.
Yeah. Apparently, Corriepedia put out a tweet yesterday saying that Christmas Day's Coronation Street had the highest number of cast ever. In a single episode of Coronation Street. So that's pretty cool. Apparently, and I think the extra fact that went along with the tweet was that was more, or the same number maybe, of actors who appeared in Coronation Street in the entirety of 1962. So
that's crazy.
Yeah, they did like to. Not everybody had lines. I mean, I don't even know whether some of those are counted. Like little Eliza was in there, wasn't she, at the Nazir's house?
I think they probably counted everybody.
But 67. Most soaps don't have 67 cast members.
Most
in
TV
total.
shows don't.
No. So that's quite an achievement. It was quite nice to see so many people on Christmas Day. Actually, it was when we've been complaining about going ages without seeing characters or people not interacting with each other or what have you. It was nice to get the community feel.
And unlike in previous years where they've done a nice happy Christmas, today this Christmas Day was obviously a complete tragedy.
It wasn't complete tragedy.
Yes, it was, because Tyrone and Fiz
got married. we knew it was going to happen. Well,
Boo.
I mean, we're pretty sure it was going to happen.
Boo.
It's not often that you and I have such polar opposite opinions on things that happen on Coronation
you wait till
Street.
I get started.
There's been a couple recently where we've really not been seeing eye to eye on it, have we?
Well, that's okay, because I've realised that you're stuck with me now, so I can come out with all my true feelings about things. I've always been quite reticent, as you know.
Well, we're going to start off with that story. I can do the talking about it if you like. The tie the knot story.
I want to tell everyone what happened.
No, we need to give it opinionless first, and then we delve in there. We need to make sure that
I'm just going to spit facts.
We need to be a Barney's goose about it as we first synopsise it.
Okay.
So we've got
Sorry if
tie
I'm
the
a bit
knot
fratchy, but
then we've got the Max Streamism story. Though I've rebranded it for Christmas, Xmas Streamism, just to add a little bit of festive cheer to the extreme right storyline. Wedding Days is my storyline title for Daisy potentially getting married. Wedding Days, yeah, maybe that makes sense. We had the Couch for the Grouch next, and Gemma, you were right with your prediction with the miniature sofa, but I'm sure there's so much we can talk about that one. Reading the Red was back again, and was the Jacob's Dada story back on Friday. And then I've just got a load of little stories. Like, I didn't know whether they would turn into stories or not, but I've come up with festive storyline titles for them.
Well, that's the most important
Starting off
thing.
with the Mary and Brian getting together storyline. Well, they kind of did. They had a bit of a sing together, didn't they? They weren't necking her or anything. But may your days be merry and bright. Oh, may your days be merry and bright.
Yes.
My voice is back now, everybody. I'm feeling better.
Watch out.
And yeah, we had our traditional, as standard, getting a bit tiresome Coronation Street Christmas Day musical montage at the beginning of Sunday's episode, didn't we? And that featured tons of characters all getting up to Christmassy things. But as I said, I didn't know whether they would return into storylines. But we have got Feliz Navidad. Thank you. Abby Christmas.
Yeah.
Santa Claus is coming to Browns.
Stupid.
Stupid.
Next.
We wish you a Bailey Christmas. Not so good.
Yeah.
And
this is bad.
Nina Bleak Midwinter.
Nina Bleak Midwinter.
Exactly.
Good job, Michael.
She's not looking at all bleak at the moment. She's pretty much like, I would say she's like 90% blonde now, isn't she?
She snuck that in,
She's betrayed her goth roots completely.
Can't believe
now,
it.
Has Nina. But no, most of those did not have a story attached to them, but we'll say what they got up to, I guess. So you want to do Tie the Knot, do you?
Yeah.
You're going to take the lead on this one.
Yeah.
Right, well, let's rewind back to Friday then. This is Christmas Eve, or Christmas Eve in Weatherfield, I suppose.
Yeah.
Leading through to the joyous day of Fiz and Tyrone's wedding. Over to you.
Ruined Christmas forever because now they're going to have to buy each other anniversary gifts. which is he didn't think that through, did he?
Well, Ashley and Claire
Also
have
ruined
been fine
everyone's
with it.
Christmas day by making them go to a wedding that they don't.
Well,
why can't you
they've
have?
got a few people hanging. I don't. One thing I didn't get was why Michael Bailey was there. Like most of the people in the congregation, like Abby was there, Debbie was there, Kevin. Yeah, that kind of all makes sense. What? Why was Michael Bailey a hanger-on? Have they got anything to do with each other?
Maybe he's good friends with Hope.
Do you reckon?
Maybe he and Hope are like best mates.
I don't know. I didn't get that one, but no, they didn't.
Maybe that was his plus one.
Tell you who was there. Evelyn was there.
I know, we were
Very
so excited.
Nice
There were
to see Maureen back on the show again.
There were a couple of surprise returns for Christmas Day.
Yes.
Some of them more exciting than others. And
Right,
Evelyn was probably the most fun, wasn't she?
Yeah, but she was hiding in her bedroom on yesterday's episode because they could only get Maureen Lipman back for one appearance. But never mind. Right, go on then.
Yes, all right. On Friday, Fiz wants to take the family to the cinema. She's like, "Oh, I'm so excited about Christmas. I want to go see A Wonderful Life. It's A Wonderful Life at the cinema." And they'll get all the food ready today. And
what she didn't see was that on Christmas Eve, A Wonderful Life was on TV.
It was on Channel 4, so they didn't advertise it on ITV.
Clearly not.
Tyrone's like, no, we should just get a takeaway. I don't want to fuss around with all the turkey and the trimming.
Well, yeah, he's talking about Christmas Day itself. He doesn't want to have He's just making it up, isn't he?
He's trying to ruin Christmas as a joke.
He's trying to downplay Christmas Day so that the actual joyous surprise of the wedding.
I hate it when characters do this at the best of times, but this was completely obnoxious.
I did actually think it was rather obnoxious. I love Tyrone. I love that the two of them got married, but when he was doing this, because he did it on Friday and on Saturday's episode, didn't he? When he unveiled the presents.
I hate Christmas.
I was like, no.
No, you stupid idiot.
Yeah.
Okay, right. So he says, the girls are like, yay, let's have a takeaway. Also, I don't know who's open on Christmas Day in this country.
The local turkey farmer, apparently.
Yeah. Tyrone asks Maria to do Fiz's hair for the wedding, and he's trying to do wedding vows, and he says, he reads the lyrics to the chorus of "Say You'll Be There" by the Spice Girls.
Thank you very much, I appreciate it.
And she doesn't think that's a good idea.
No, she says that, no, but Tyrone's like, Fiz loves the Spice Girls. So what? Yeah, he does. And this is a nice link with us, didn't it? Because we had "Say You'll Be There" played at our wedding reception by my sister's band. Remember, we had a little bop around to that?
I blanked it out. I did ask her for Lady Gaga songs, but she only did Spice Girls songs.
I'm trying to think. And now I'm quite convinced that it has been mentioned before that Fiz likes the Spice Girls. I'm sure that's in Fiz's canon.
Can I tell you more about what happened?
Yeah, go for it.
Beth comes in and says, "Oh, we need to take the girls to dress their dresses because they're not ready for tomorrow." Oh no, it's the same time that Fiz wanted to take them to the cinema. So Tyrone comes home and says, "Oh, you can't go to the cinema with the girls. I need them. It's related to your Christmas present, but it'll be worth it in the end." And she's like, "Oh, why did he ruin her Christmas Eve? He's such a dick."
No, because he wants to make a nice dress. It's got to be done.
No,
these things have got to be done.
It didn't have to be done right then.
Well, he shouldn't.
Nobody cares about their silly dresses. In the factory later, Tyrone and the girls
no romance
are all
in
really
your soul.
Happy. So they're getting.
Tyrone had put his marker down on having this wedding, Gemma, on Christmas Day, and Nout was going to get in the way of him.
Well, in all my born puff, I've never seen such nonsense. So,
the people who listen to this on YouTube that haven't heard the first quarter of an hour of the podcast today, I've got no idea.
No, they're all listening going, it's so authentic. They know all the lingo. So, the girls look fabulous, and Tyrone asks to see the wedding dress. We get a tiny little portion of it, and he thinks it looks fantastic.
I'm not convinced it was the exact same garment that he and Gemma brought back from the shops earlier in the week, but either that or Beth can work miracles. But yeah, the girls have got nice little outfits, haven't they? They look like all
sequiny with
red
little
sequins, yeah.
Yeah.
Very festive.
Meanwhile, Fiz is in the pub with Maria going, "Oh, this Christmas turned out to be absolutely rubbish." And Maria's like, "Well, Tyrone's might be planning something really special." And Fiz is like, "Doubt it." No, she's right though, because he's just given her the gift of something that would have happened on any other day of the year.
Oh, damn.
What a cop-out present this is. "Oh, you gave me a wedding. Okay, and I had
she
no
got
choice.
A box of chocolates
I
as
had
well
no choice." Yeah, he didn't even get her an actual Christmas gift. His Christmas gift to Fiz was the gift of being his wife and doing all the stuff that she does already, like burning the fish fingers under the grill.
They get a nice hotel trip out of it, isn't it?
Is that it? I tell you what,
I don't know whether they're going on honeymoon.
This man would end up with no head in the morning. Tyrone joins them in the pub and he whispers to Glenda about, oh, this is going to be the best Christmas ever. And then we hear Fiz say to Maria, this is going to be the worst Christmas ever.
See, Tyrone...
And one of them was right.
When he said best Christmas ever, that's the soap phrase of doom, isn't it? So when he said that, I was half thinking, oh, is something going to go wrong? And I suppose it does on Sunday. It isn't completely to plan, but I was a little bit worried that they weren't going to end up spliced.
They kept saying spliced. Didn't they?
I said it a couple of times, yes.
On Sunday, so that's Christmas Day, Tyrone shows the girls the wedding ring that he's got. Again, another cop-out Christmas present.
No, it's not.
Fiz got Tyrone a really thoughtful gift, a hospitality package to go to Weatherfield County Football Club. And she doesn't even want him to take her. She's like, take who you like, take your friend. I don't mind. I don't need to go.
Take Tim, I don't want to go.
I'm going to go. He's a load of crap. And he's got her a bag that says half price on it, and inside is a box of chocolates that were half price and a key ring for Webster's Garage, which actually
just come in useful later.
Actually comes in useful, which I think is quite clever.
So I quite enjoyed that as well. I you know, as I said earlier, I do like Tyrone and I'm pro this marriage, but I didn't like that they made him do that.
No, why the hell? Why would he he didn't need to.
He needs to lull her into a false sense of security.
He didn't need to diminish her expectations or give her a crap gift.
No, if he'd have given her a nice gift, then it would have come as an even bigger extra surprise when he gave her the wedding.
If he'd given her a nice Christmas gift, it would have been the bare minimum that you should do for your future wife on Christmas Day. So, Tyrone and the girls go into the living room going, going to the chapel and we're gonna get married. But Fiz isn't there. She's bucketed off. She's gone to pick up a turkey. And he runs out just as she turns down Rosamond Street.
They almost caught her, didn't they? Because she was there fiddling with her
trying to put her seatbelt on.
So, drama. He could have probably chased after her, to be honest. But
he's lazy. Yeah. He's a lazy oik.
His Christmas Day, he's probably all full up with chocolate already.
So Tyrone goes and tells Chesney, and Chesney reckons that she'll have gone to the turkey farm where Les used to get his turkey.
Yes. Which
I assume was Teresa.
I guess so. 25 years ago this Christmas since Teresa the turkey got hit by a car. Can you believe
I love the fact that there's a local Weatherfield turkey farm.
I've got in my memory that it was I've forgotten what his name is. It was that dodgy guy that Les used to hang around with. You know the one I mean? There was a guy. Gemma's shaking her head. I'm gonna continue. Charlie West. I wonder whether it was his. That would have been a nice little Christmas.
Well, she never gets there because she's driving through the countryside and her car breaks down and she doesn't have a mobile phone with her. And this is very typical of
just general Coronation Street characters not having their mobile phone.
Well, no. I mean, the fact that her car breaks down when she's married to a mechanic. What's he been doing to it?
She even said she only got it valeted last month as well, didn't she? So, yeah, exactly. So, not a good advert for Webster's.
No, everyone's at the hotel later, and Evelyn turns up. Hurrah! Fiz is trying to fix the car, and it does the comedy car thing of squirting her with oil, which I don't know if that ever really happens in real life. I was waiting for you to say the car's been banjaxed.
Sorry, I couldn't find the word there. We've written these down. We're going to try and get these.
The car got banjaxed, and everyone's at the chapel waiting for her, and they're like, "What? Did the knocker up not come round this morning?" See, I got it in, Michael. Well, you thought I wouldn't get that one in. Nice. Yes. Okay. So
they're not at a chapel, are they? I think it was supposed to be Chariot. It was definitely Chariot Square again, wasn't it? Yes, because Debbie was there.
They came back though. They came back and then they went back to the hotel.
Yeah, they decided that the Rovers was a better place to have a reception.
I know. They saw how much
Square. They saw how much the oysters were there.
Yeah.
Like, no thanks.
So Fiz can't fix the car. Then a Christmas Day hiker. What's his name?
Chris Pringle
comes walking down the road, all dressed in red, like Father Christmas on his day off. And he says to her, I saw a phone box a mile or so back. Let's walk there and you can call somebody to help you.
Yes.
And on their walk, they pass about 5 different people, all of whom probably had mobile phones.
Yeah.
One of whom was sprinting, who could have got to the phone faster, but never mind. That's
Why
fine.
did you give him Fiz a piggyback and carried her down there?
Yeah. Right, so Tyrone's like, oh, so glum. The wedding's off. We better get back to the Rovers and enjoy the spread anyway. So on the way to the phone box, Fiz is ranting about how awful Tyrone is, and it's the first time she's made sense in about half a year. She says, it's rubbish Christmas, got a naff present. Then they get to the phone box, and she does what I think most of us would do and go on, I don't know what his phone number is.
I know, I don't remember your phone number.
The only thing I thought of is if I'd left my phone somewhere, I can remember my phone number. So I could phone my phone.
Yeah.
And you might pick it up if you saw it. But that's the only thing I could remember to do.
Yours ends in 264, doesn't it?
Don't say that. That's my special code.
I can never remember the rest of it. But I'd have just tried all possibilities.
Yeah, just go run through all the different numbers because it won't take that long. And he's got a load of coins, doesn't he, to help her to make the phone call.
He makes all these comments. Sorry, but he makes all these comments about the contactless generation. He's just having a moan about the youth of today, basically.
Just like Father Christmas would do.
Yeah, totally.
Father Christmas delivers all these fancy smartphones and iPads. He's like, this is a load of old crap. Remember in my day, we used to give out wooden solitaire
we used to have
games.
rocking horses, teddy bears, and
Skittles.
Jackson balls.
Yeah, Jackson's balls. Anyway, thank goodness she was given this stupid key ring because it's got the emergency call out number for Webster's autos on it. So everyone's scoffing all the food in the Rovers, and Evelyn's saying the whole idea is stupid. And she said, as far as surprises go, this one was about as agreeable as Pearl Harbor. I'm Ofcom. Kevin gets a phone call and he realises he's missed 2 of them already, which I can just imagine poor Fiz standing there in the thing desperately trying to call this number. And he makes some comment about he's basically the same as NHS nurses because he's on call all Christmas Day.
Quick clap for Kevin, everybody. Thank you so much.
Tyrone is alone at the hotel with Debbie later. And then Fiz turns up. We don't get to see her being rescued. Apparently she wasn't that far away. She could have just walked home. Then Chesney and Kevy and Avin all turn up because the wedding's back on.
I would have quite liked to have seen the moment that Fiz got told about the wedding because it was quite a big time jump,
why
wasn't
on
it?
earth did we see that
I'm going to
moment?
phone up Kevin to here I am ready to marry you.
I've had the surprise of my life.
Yeah, and yet we don't get to see the reaction.
Yeah, that's a bit disappointing, really.
Yeah, maybe it was cut.
Maybe it was cut because she went, what the bloody hell are you talking about? It's the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my life. So, Evelyn has strong-armed the registrar who is very anxious. He needs to leave. He's got his own family to deal with. He doesn't want to be hanging around here with you weird turkey farm lady. Chesney walks Fiz down the aisle. They play a song from The Cause.
I can't remember what it was. I've written The Cause now. Oh, is it You're Still the One I Want? Still the one I... Yeah, it was.
Oh, man,
it was
sorry.
Nice. 90s. Love it. But should have been 2 Become 1. Christmas, Spice Girls.
I know, but it's like, you're still
Dramatic.
the one I run to. What? Still after what? Be more specific. Still after you cheated on me with a Romanian strumpet.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't remember that verse. Vow time, and I think they just do normal vows, which I thought was actually quite refreshing.
Well, no, they don't really have much time, do they?
They don't. The guys got to go.
After all the fuss on the Fridays episode about Tyrone trying to figure out what to do for his vows, he didn't really get to say anything. He's like, I'll marry you, you'll marry him. Right, let's go.
Abby thinks it's hilarious that Tyrone's middle name is Sylvester. Fiz doesn't even have a middle name. They get married, the registrar leaves, hooray. And then they arrive at the wedding, at the reception in the Rovers, and Kevin does a little speech.
He does a nice speech.
And he talks about Jack and Vera watching over them. And he also says, after passing the hardest MOT this year, you've got a lot of miles left in you. And I thought he was talking about Fiz's car, and that's why it broke down. Because they just kind of, just
snuck it through a few weeks ago.
And Tyrone says, I've booked us a hotel room.
How thoughtful and generous.
What a lovely... Is this my Christmas present? I'm still waiting for that then, am I? Night falls, everyone cheers, the happy couple head off to Chariot Square, and then Fiz sees Chris down by the postbox. It's an illusion. When she
gives him a thumbs up in the rear view mirror,
when she tells Tyrone that he's over there, he's disappeared. Where's he gone? He must be a Christmas angel. No, he's just bent down to pick a coin off the floor because, you know, if you look after the pennies, the pounds look after themselves. And then they drive away. He walks down the middle of the road and looking at his handiwork, and a shooting star overhead, I don't know,
twinkles,
lands on someone's cat and kills it, I guess.
And that is the end of the Christmas Day, Corinne.
Can I just say, they didn't invite Chris to the wedding.
Oh no, he's got his hiking to do. I don't know what he was even doing there.
If I was a helpful stranger with a Christmas themed name on Christmas Day, you help somebody, and my whole family died. That's his backstory. I think he killed them myself. His whole family's dead, and he's alone on Christmas. And Fiz is like, "Thanks for your help. I'm off to my wedding. See you later. There's a buffet and everything, but you're not coming."
Well, no, he
That's probably why he turned up.
Ritual.
Well, he turned up at the end of the road. He was obviously local.
Well, yeah, because I don't get it. Because he said that he does his walk from wherever he lives to wherever he was going to Turkey Farm every Christmas,
and
then he catches a bus home. So I guess by the time we've reached the end of the episode, he's been on his walk and he's got his bus back, and he's a local.
They didn't even give him a goddamn lift.
No.
He gets a bus home. This poor old man gets a bus home.
He seemed like he was the sort that would have wanted to go for that.
I bet he loves sausage rolls.
Because it's not particularly... yeah, okay, we'll come back to that. We'll come
Monday.
Back. I have some thoughts.
They're back from Chariot Square. They're all happy. Evelyn's in bed because she had to look after the kids. Sam comes in and sees Hope. She's got her stape tape, and she explains that she's trying to reconnect with her dad, like he's real. And Sam's like, "Yeah, I understand, I'm half an orphan." Fiz and Tyrone get back from the shops later, and she tells everyone that she's going to change her name to Dobbs, and that she wants Hope to as well. And Hope is a bit upset and wants to go to her room.
Yeah, well, she tells the girls as if it's like, "Oh, I've got some exciting news for you. We're all going to be a family." And Ruby's there saying, "Oh yeah, hashtag Team Dobbs" or whatever. And Hope's clearly not so thrilled with this idea.
I felt really sorry for Hope.
Why?
Well, because I didn't want to change my name either.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting because usually on soaps, it just is a thing that automatically happens, isn't it? It doesn't turn into a storyline or anything. Usually, literally on the day that the characters get married, they are then credited at the end of the episode with their new married name. But Fiz was still Fiz Stape at the end of Christmas Day and yesterday's episode. But yeah, it certainly makes sense to make a bit of a story plot point out of it.
I hope this turns into an interesting discussion where everyone's opinions are respected, but I somehow think
I don't think
that Hope's going to be railroaded into changing her name.
I don't know whether she will. I mean,
I hope she keeps it.
I don't think it's fair to force her to change her name, and she does seem like quite a she's certainly not a Barney's goose about this, is she?
The thing is that I like, obviously she should kind of change her name because her name's like connected to a serial killer. It's like being called Hope Dharma.
Hope Hitler.
But yeah, she doesn't. This is what I've always thought. I've never thought of my name as a temporary placeholder to insert other important name here. My name's my name, and I've always thought that. I've never wanted to change my name. Maybe Hope feels the same way about that as I do. But the reason really that she's like this is because she's finally connected to her dad for the first time, and she doesn't want to disconnect herself from him. Because for the first time, she feels like she knows who he is from these tapes. Yeah, it's a really clever and interesting setup for that kind of dilemma.
Yeah, I did enjoy watching her listening to his Little Women thing, and now Sam knows as well. So the chat that they had was quite sweet. But obviously, and it's a little bit puppy love going on in there as well, isn't there?
But obviously, it's lovely to all have the same name, isn't it? And to be like a family team. Yeah. So that's just two different opinions, and I completely understand why Fiz and Tyrone thought that everyone having the same surname would be an exciting and fun thing for them to do.
I still think it's very odd that it's taken Fiz this long to change her name anyway, considering how she, it has been associated with this serial killer that she doesn't want anybody to know about, think about, talk about all these years. I don't know why she didn't go back to Brown.
But hey.
Yeah, anyway. So I guess watch this space for that one. But, yeah. setting aside your views about Tyrone, if you can, how did you find the wedding in the pantheon of Coronation Street nuptials?
I can't judge it, I'm afraid.
Is it too difficult to divorce yourself from
I wish they get divorced.
I thought it was quite sweet, nice and Christmassy.
Just the ego of this man. The ego.
What do you?
The ego of this man to think that that's a Christmas present to be his wife.
You just never be
Who
satisfied.
wants to be the wife of boring old Tyrone Dobbs?
He's lovely.
He's
he just
not.
had a
He's
little,
a cheating
little
scumbag.
indiscretion last
He's a cheating scumbag, and he ruined everyone's lives, and he abandoned those children.
He just moved across
and now he wants
the road.
them to have his surname. Get bent.
I do want Tyrone. I just think
get bent. Here's your present.
These two
Happy
have been
nuptials.
courting on and off for the best part of 20 years.
Well, he shouldn't
so
have cheated.
as a long-term Coronation Street fan, I appreciate that it's finally culminated in this, and I do hope that they stay together. She's obviously a lot more forgiving than you are. Maybe she thinks that she's past her prime,
Do you
and
think
maybe
she
she's
thinks
not
she
gonna...
can't get a better man than Tyrone Dobbs?
Well, she was almost there with Phil earlier this year, wasn't she?
I would have just gone with Phil.
I mean, most people don't have 2 wedding ceremonies within a 6-month period. So
I really liked Evelyn's catty comment about she bought her hat for Phil and
that was funny.
Fiz's wedding, and she's not buying a new one.
It's the way that she delivered it as
Yeah.
well, didn't she? She was like mouthed it loudly.
Yeah.
It was nice to see Evelyn back.
And she's set up a mystery about where she's been.
Yes, she did, didn't she? That was kind of a bit of a throwaway comment when I can't remember who it even was that asked her, like where, maybe it was Tyrone. Because he tried to contact her on, was it Christmas Eve? I can't remember, and she was staying with James, and then she moved away somewhere else, but she's being very secretive about where she was supposed to be, and I didn't really have an idea, although I saw somebody online suggesting that maybe she's been visiting great-grandchild in Romania. Maybe.
Oh, I think I think she might have brought that up a little bit.
Do you reckon?
Well, I'm sorry, but if I was Evelyn, no, she was on Fiz's side, wasn't she?
She was on Fiz's side during the affair. She was.
But really, if she knew that Alina had Tyrone's child, which is still not absolutely clear, but we're running with that theory.
We are.
You think that you would bring this up because it's going to ruin that relationship again when it comes out?
But she didn't have much chance, did she? Because I mean, Tyrone must have only told Evelyn about the fact that they were getting married mere days ago, and
it's almost like you should give people more notice.
Evelyn couldn't have turned up at the day on the ceremony, like within hours before it was about to take place, and say, "By the way, everybody, just go want to drop this bomb on you." I think that because she knows that they are a good couple and meant for each other, etc., etc., etc. I think she thinks maybe they'll find out one day, but now's not the time, and I'm sure that they'll make it through it. If it would have just delayed things a lot longer if she'd have mentioned it beforehand. Or maybe she thinks that it's not going to come out. Maybe it's not even a thing. That's the thing. I don't know. When she said I've been somewhere else, and I kind of looked at you, and I wondered whether she'd been to see old Arthur,
which I thought
in
was a
Canada,
very good theory.
which would be lovely to have him back on the street again. But yeah, I'm kind of going with the Alina theory. I think lots of people were wondering, is Alina going to make a surprise appearance on Christmas Day, Corrie? And she didn't, did she?
No, that would have been brilliant.
That would have been. If she was going to turn up, when would, for you, have been the ideal opportunity for that?
Well, it would have been a silly coincidence. She would have been driving in a van on the opposite direction of the road where Fiz broke down.
Oh,
and then she would have got out and gone, "Oh, Fiz, what's going on?" And then she'd be like, "Who's that baby?" "Oh, this baby, I call him Tyrone."
Tyrone Jr. I assume that she is living over in Romania still with this kid.
I think she's going to have a nasty accident, just like Katie.
Like all the other young mothers on Coronation.
Anywhere, if you live in a foreign country, and you've got a baby, you're gonna die in a car crash.
Yeah, no, I think that would have been. I was waiting for like an end of the episode post-wedding reveal or something, for her to swan into the reception or something. although I enjoyed this year's Christmas Day Coronation Street, at the end of the episode, I mean, I thought it was not so dusty.
Have we done them all now?
I don't know whether we've done them all. I did kind of end Sunday's episode going, okay, is that it? You know, I was waiting for there to be one massive shock or a big twist or something, because the main focus of those episodes was the wedding and what else happened on Christmas Day? I can't even remember.
Well, I don't think anyone's going to watch.
The proposal was the other thing, wasn't it, with Daniel and Daisy?
Nobody's going to have watched that at their relatives or friend's house at Christmas Day and gone, oh gosh, I want to know what happens next.
What, the actual one that broadcast?
Well, didn't we? We talked about what is the purpose of a Christmas Day episode. What is the purpose of Coronation Street in general? And the purpose, obviously, is to entertain you and to make you watch the next one. Because that's how they get their advertising money and how they get the viewing figures.
Yeah.
So Christmas Day one's got an extra job on its hands. It's got to convince people that are being forced to watch it at their friends and relatives' house to watch another one. It's got to intrigue you. It's got to make you think, this is worth watching. This is exciting. Oh, I wish I could be in on this. I want to know more about this, that and the other thing. And as far as that goes, I don't think that this episode did that job. And I also think that in general, Christmas on Corrie has always been for the loyal viewers rather than for the new ones.
Well, they go back and forth over what makes a good Christmas Day episode.
Recently they have, because we had the Helter Skelter one, which is the first time anyone's died on a Christmas
3 years ago maybe
episode.
Yeah, 2-3 years ago with Robert's death. And that time, Ian McLeod was saying, "Oh yeah, we want to make it big and exciting." And
to me, that's what I want Christmas.
That's kind of what I want as well.
And this year, he said,
"Oh, you know, everybody on Christmas Day, you just want to have something like whatever he's decided this year's Christmas is going to be on Coronation Street." In the interviews, he'll say, "This is what people want on Christmas Day for Coronation Street."
Well,
and this year, it's landed on a nice family, cosy, lovely sort of Christmas.
Well, it's to do with what the storylines are that is going on throughout the whole year. And also, I think sometimes it's a bit of a litmus test about how everyone's feeling. Are people in the mood for a miserable Christmas this year? No, not at all.
No, and that's the thing. It was a nice kind of warm, cosy episode. And like I said, I did enjoy it. I liked Tyrone and Fiz and I liked Daniel and Daisy. But at the end of the day, I left the episode just wanting just that little bit more. Either Alina coming back or something going on with Stephen or the racists or something. And, you know, we're led to believe that there's going to be something happening with Griff and his gang at New Year's Eve, because that's when he said, well, our big plan is, you know, this is where we're gearing up towards. So they've just, you know, deferred it for a week, which is fine.
What I wanted was like... Chris Pringle to be standing at the end of the road, and then Alina comes along. Excuse me, who's getting married today? And then he'll be like, "Oh, it's a lovely couple. I think his name was Tyrone,
a young mechanic
at Webster's,
and his red-headed
girlfriend," and she'd be like,
I wanted Fiz to the car. Who was driving it? It was Tim in his role play hat, wasn't it? I wanted him to reverse over Chris Pringle.
Chris Pringle. Not a fan in this house, I'm afraid.
We did not enjoy Chris Pringle.
Well, I thought, okay, it's harmless. It was harmless, silly fun, but I think it was slightly too whimsical for me.
It was far too twee. I mean, I'm never going to say no to a Coronation Street location shoot. As you know, nice to have those scenes out in the countryside, little drone shots and everything. In fact, we've seen on the on Corrie Instagram a few behind the scenes videos of like the camera on a van in front of Fiz. Lovely, loved all that. And then they had this new character. And it was just, you know, a special one episode character. It's a sort of one who would normally be played by like a celebrity guest. But I had to look on this guy's IMDb page, and he's not been in a whole lot of stuff.
I know, I think that was my thought as well. I was thinking, why couldn't they get... I mean, no disrespect to the guy, he did a really good job.
Yeah, he was fine.
But it did feel like a cameo fell through.
Yeah, why didn't they get Richard Attenborough?
King Charles could have done it.
But he was kind of fine. I thought that the lines when he was going on about the youth of today just felt a little bit
Weird.
We've sort of been there. There was nothing, new or controversial about those particular lines. It was just like, oh yeah, whatever. But yeah, the very ending scene. Oh my gosh, fingers down the throat. What a load of rubbish.
Hated
Sorry,
this way more. I really don't care.
That last 5 seconds of Christmas Day Coronation Street. I told you, and I tweeted a message a few people. Editing low of Coronation Street.
Oh, you bitch.
No, sorry, it was an absolute load of tut. Coronation Street is not about that. I mean, when Fiz was looking behind her and it looked like he was magically disappeared, that would have been bad enough. And then it's like, oh no, he's just gone down behind the post box. Fine, he did say he liked to pick up coins earlier in the episode.
They established this.
But having him walk towards the camera, I hate it when they do fake fireworks on Coronation Street anyway. But to have a shooting star go over Rosamond Street, coupled with a twinkling sound,
funny.
It's just gone into a different genre.
Do you think that
That's not soap. That's stupid Christmas fantasy. And then they had the iris shot, because I've been looking this up.
The Irish shot?
Iris shot.
Oh.
That's what it's called when it kind of closes in on a circle.
Oh,
do they think this is a 1920s silent movie or something?
Oh, right. That's probably what they were going for. So
I was expecting Porky Pig to come out of it and go, that's all, folks. It's stupid. Absolutely ridiculous.
Do you think they should have waited for a real shooting star?
Yes, they do. No, just don't do it at all. It looked fake and rubbish. And Coronation Street does not end in that way.
You're so funny.
I've found, we had our Christmas Corrie musical montage at the beginning. What was it? Having a Wonderful Christmas Time, I think it was this year. I don't like those particularly. Every year it's like,
just accept it.
Here we go again. Why don't you try something radical and not do it one year, Coronation Street? Because you've set yourselves into a bit of a habit now, haven't you? You can get away with not starting a Christmas Day episode. It's a total rut. I think if we have a new producer, he needs to be brave and bold and radical and just start it as a normal episode, because we don't need it.
I don't mind it too much.
I don't mind it, but it's just, like I was saying, with this year's Christmas episode of Coronation Street, I wanted there to be something to surprise me or make me go, oh yeah, I didn't expect that, what a twist, or that's really intrigued me. And right from the opening seconds, where it was montage of children and parents opening presents to Christmas music, it was like, oh, here we go again, And sometimes they'll end with a musical montage on Christmas Day, and they didn't this year, but I think I found something worse. I just absolutely despised that ending, because it is not Coronation Street.
It was Christmassy.
Although I did appreciate the fact that they did the long version of the theme tune, because they had to fit all 67 cast members into it, so they had an extra long version of the outro music, so that was lovely.
Well done.
But yeah, I could have done without Chris Pringle at the end there. I really, really could.
Are you done?
I'm kind of done with that. I thought it was a lovely wedding. Shame it was at Chariot Square yet again. But it was nice, kind of Christmassy do. Fiz looked gorgeous.
Yes, she was a beautiful
very
bride.
nice
dress. Well done.
Yeah.
Well done, Beth.
And the only other thing I suppose was the fact that this whole storyline brought about the idea that Gemma and Chesney may well be getting hitched next year, and Gemma seems to be a bit keener on the idea than Chesney is, because
another woman desperate to marry a useless piece of crap.
At least Chesney has stayed faithful to her. So keep your eyes out for that
It's
one
not
in
busy
2023.
beating his head against a brick wall.
I wonder whether this is going to be Coronation Street's first signed wedding.
I
you
think
imagine
it would
them
be,
there at the front of St Mary's, having somebody signing along, so Aled knows what's going on, so he's not taken by surprise when they kiss each other at the front. Yeah, warn him for that. Also, festive boob. We just talk about that.
What was
This is you pointed this out, didn't you? It was a giant, cuddly... Was it a pig or something? I can't remember.
It was unfortunately placed so it looked like a big, droopy boob.
Yes, it did, rather.
With a giant pink nipple.
Yes, it was sitting on the table in number 9.
Very prominently placed.
Hope and Fiz were doing their colouring in or whatever. But anyone else noticed that? Was it just us with our dirty minds? Actually, I say Gemma noticed it. I was the one that took a picture of it to put it up on Twitter.
Daisy would like that.
She doesn't need one. She's got the all clear.
No, she would use it as a prop for her Instagram to explain how to feel.
Couldn't she?
Give it a good squeeze.
Yeah.
See if there's any lumps inside.
Okay, so boobs aside, let's move on to the Xmas-streamism storyline with what Max has been getting up to this festive season. So Friday, Spider's still there on the telephone at the beginning of the episode. He's standing next to Max by the bedside, hoping he's going to stay unconscious for a little bit longer, I suppose, because he's talking about all police things, saying, I reckon we should be getting protective custody for Max. And his boss is like, no, he's fine. He got blowed up. He survived that. He can survive anything. I think one of the things that, I was a bit down on last week's Coronation Street, I think it was just like the fact that a character that I really do quite like at the moment got blown up by a bomb. And at the end of it, it was like, nothing happened. Everything's okay. Yeah. It's fine. I know exactly. And I wasn't feeling, oh my gosh, peril. Max has got blown up. It was just like,
there's no peril at all.
No,
I wonder what. Yeah, I know what you mean.
And now he's fine. By Christmas Day, he's up and he's got a few bandages around his hands, and apart from that, he's okay. At least when Shona got shot in a box, which thank you very much for the call out on Christmas Day episode.
She didn't say she got shot in a box.
She didn't say shot in the box. Oh my god! If Shona had said shot in a box, that would have been a reference to this podcast.
Yeah,
I'll tell
you.
No, he's just fine again now, and they could have almost jumped from last Monday's episode to this Monday's episode, got rid of the bombing, and now the storyline would have not really been any further. Max could have moved out last week, but anyway, that's the state of affairs at the beginning of Friday's episode. He's there in hospital. So
with Spider trying to get protective custody for Max and them not allowing it, makes me wonder, like, what kind of duty of care do they actually have to minors?
Seemingly none.
It doesn't seem like it. It feels a bit like an undercover policeman is just kind of like a nature documentary maker who just watches all the antelope get killed. Just like wears antelope horns.
You can't intervene here.
Just stands around with all of his antelope friends going, oh, there's a lion over there.
Yeah.
I won't mention it though.
It is. He's just he's collateral damage. It's a bit like Ardy in the old Kelly storyline. Yeah, he got shot, but had to be done.
In a sense, I feel as though the right thing to do is just to ignore it, because Max has not. It's not like Spider's done anything to convince Max to join this gang of racists. In fact, he's done his best to try to subtly dissuade him. Yeah. So how responsible is Spider or the police? The police's job is not to walk around and like brainwash people into not committing crimes. It's to arrest you when you've done a crime.
Yeah, I know.
All they can really do is say, don't commit crimes, please. Here's some education about how to protect yourself from crimes. And here's some education about what crimes are. But it's not their job to go around and stop you from doing the crime, is it?
Tell you what, David is not going to be happy with Spider when this all comes out, is he?
I'm sorry, I tried to stop him, David. It's not my fault. Right. Tell him, Toya.
So, we have got Toya on his side. Toya, quite a big character on Friday's episode, but then diminished in importance as the three went on.
I loved her Christmas Day. Her Christmas Day role was glaring at everyone from the end of the table with Leanne next to her, like the pair of evil aunts who've been invited by default to Christmas Day.
Toya got 2 lines on Christmas Day. One of them saying, "Oh yeah, that Griff's a wrong one," or something like that.
I imagine she's furious because I can also imagine the Platts idea of catering for Christmas Day vegetarian is just that you can have everything apart from the turkey.
Yeah.
There's no actual food for you.
So sprouts are plenty for Toya.
Sprouts, carrots, peas. Sure. Sorry, you can't have gravy because there's meat juice in it.
So
that's all right, isn't it? You don't like gravy because you're vegetarian.
So Spider goes round to see Toya. Now remember when we left them last on the last episode, he just revealed to her that he was a policeman, and she didn't believe him.
I'm a policeman. No, you're not.
Yeah, that's exactly how. Thank you for that.
Oh no, what shall I do now?
So she's not told anybody about it because she doesn't believe him. We were wondering, she's living with Nick and Leanne. I think that she must have half believed him, because if I absolutely 100% did not believe that this person, what they were saying, I'd be going and telling people.
I'd tell everyone how hilarious.
I just had a weird chat with Spider.
Do you want to hear the weirdest thing ever?
So she must have kind of secretly known.
Harboured doubts about whether she was...
and knew that if she, revealed it, then he'd be in trouble. But anyway, she says, well, I don't believe you. And he's like, right, backstory time, settle yourself down. Here is my origin story of how Spider is actually a policeman. So remember that Leela that I told you about? Layla, I can't remember.
This was the most anticlimactic backstory I've ever heard for a character.
It didn't reveal a huge amount, did it? But I suppose that's just the problem with us,
we
theorising and speculating on the podcast. Sometimes our speculation will run away with itself. But the basic story is you got him and his missus and her sister Ali, who were at an anti-fascist
Whose
protest.
sister?
Layla's sister.
Oh, so
Ali.
it's his girlfriend and her sister Ali. So Leela's his girlfriend, Ali's Leela's sister.
Yeah, or was it boyfriend Ali? I don't remember.
As a person,
some sibling or other. They were at this anti-fascist protest in South America.
It says he was in a coma.
Well, I've written he was. Oh yeah.
I think I remember him saying that.
Right, so brother Ali, fine, like Dr. Ali.
Maybe it was the same person.
Maybe.
No, dead.
No, he ended up getting killed. There was it got ugly apparently. These anti-fascists versus the fascists. And Spider and Ali and Layla ran off, and then he kind of got trampled to death. I kind of am imagining, and Spider says, and he was in a coma for 3 months, and then he wasn't. Oh, he died. I assume so. It wasn't then. He was in a coma for 3 months, and then he woke up and he's fine. Just Max.
That sentence goes for he was fine and he also died.
I think the delivery of it we're supposed to infer.
But imagine. Imagine Spider as a doctor. Got good news and bad news. He's not in a coma anymore.
Yeah. So anyway, Layla blamed Spider for this, and then he realised that if he wanted to make a change in the world, protests weren't enough. So I just became a policeman. So it was as simple as that. Right. And then he's like, well, with my background, they thought that I'd be perfect for undercover work. But being away from Leela all that time put an end to their relationship, and that's basically it.
Is illogical to me, honestly. I'm very unsatisfied with that explanation.
I wondered, is he only undercover for anti-fascist things, or is it just a handy coincidence that was what the protest in South America was, and that's what he's up to now?
If he joined the police for that purpose, because it makes it sound like he just rocked up at the police station, and then they came up with the idea that he fights against fascism and racists.
I don't know what I was expecting particularly, but it did sound... It's fine. It's not it's no end of episode Kris Kringle Irish shot kind of levels of ridiculousness, but I was just hoping for a little bit more.
The reason why this is unsatisfying is because it undermines Spider's entire existence in the show up until this moment. Protests aren't enough, says Spider. Everyone's got to become a policeman. Is that his solution to climate change? Yeah. Can you see what I'm saying
Become
here?
A politician.
It's a complete breakdown of logic from A to B here. It doesn't make any sense.
I think it kind of does.
No, it doesn't.
I would say if we'd have seen Spider on screen all this time and there would have been this jarring transition from protester to policeman, maybe then I'd be like, oh, I don't think so.
It would
but
have
the fact that he's been off screen for nearly 20 years, maybe...
Well, look, my idea makes more sense, and I know... I just think that it makes sense to me. He was involved in some kind of anti-fascist protesting, and then the people that he was with started taking it too far, and that's how this person Ali died. And then he realised that you have to remove the rot from within. And then from that background...
we were thinking that, weren't we? You're right.
From that background of infiltrating groups of protesters, he's moved on from... from pro-environmentalists.
Yeah, if he'd become disillusioned with protesting because he's we're all as bad as each other.
I think he should have stayed true to the protest thing and said, we need to maintain moral integrity within the protest groups and eke out these fringe people who are extremists, and from that expertise of going around and rooting out extremism within protest groups, he's become an expert undercover policeman who can go into groups like that and infiltrate them and do what he's supposed to be doing with Griff.
Yeah.
But it's just a big mess, this storyline.
I don't think it's a mess. I'm still kind of enjoying it but it's not
also
got me on the hook as much as it did in the initial weeks.
Not the right time in society and culture to have a major character in a show saying protests don't work, because honestly, as normal ordinary people, that's all we have. So what, Spider, the Black Lives Matter protests aren't good enough, all the people should become policemen?
He's just saying they're not enough. I don't think he's saying that they don't work.
Well, it's not enough. How clear can you be? So every protest is a waste of time. Everyone should just become a police. Can you see how that's the stupidest leap of logic I've ever heard in my life? Martin Luther King, no point protesting. On the bus protests in America.
No, yeah.
No point doing that. They should have become policemen.
Well,
Gandhi, what an idiot.
I get what you're saying. But Spider's going to be curing fascism by the end of this story. I can see it in a mere weeks away. It'll all be over, so it'll be worth it in the end, I'm sure.
I just really think that they had so much time to like make something logical, and it doesn't take very long at all to come up with something that's better than this. It just undermines the character.
Yeah, I was left slightly underwhelmed.
And one of the
as
things
much as you, but...
that I was always annoyed with people about was when he first came in and he was revealed to be an undercover police officer. Everybody said, "Oh, this undermines his character. He would never do that. That he's working for the man now. That doesn't make any sense." And I said, "No. It does make sense because X, Y, and Z." And now that's all gone out the window. And everyone who said that it's ruined his character was kind of right, really.
We will have to see how he comes out of this. I love Spider so much. I'm not ready to give up on him yet. But...
I know, but what's the character arc going to be from this? Him being disillusioned with the police, and then what? What's his next leap of logic going to be? So I just became Elon Musk and started making my own electric cars.
Yeah.
I mean, what do you make? What?
I don't know. We'll just have to wait and see, Gemma.
The thing is about it that's frustrating is that Coronation Street has positioned itself as an environmentally friendly soap, and they care a lot about reducing the impact that they have on the environment, talking about green production and recycling all those things for the precinct. And then they've just basically gone, anyone who's protesting about the environment, you're wasting your time.
I think he's still pro-protests, because he's been going on other protests as well.
Well, I want him to say that. I want to hear more, because this is deeply unsatisfying and incredibly bizarre.
Well, we will just have to wait and see.
And then he ends up breaking up with his girlfriend because he became an undercover police officer and he couldn't maintain his relationship, and now he wants a relationship with Toya.
Yeah,
so what was going through his mind when he came back to the street and he saw Toya was there, and he knew that his past relationship had failed because of his undercover police work, but he obviously believed that being an undercover police officer was more important than that. So what's the thought process here? Oh, second time's a charm. Toya won't mind.
So it's because Toya and him were meant to be together. They're destined by fate.
I'm not feeling positive about this.
Let's move on. Let's see what else happens. So
Rosa Parks. I'm sorry, I forgot her name.
Oh, I thought you were talking
Rosa
about her,
Parks, the bus
protester.
The bus protester.
So he tells Toya about all his work that he's been doing with Griff, and he's like, "Yeah, I need some solid evidence about this guy that we can make stick." And he tells her about the bomb the other day and Max, and that David doesn't know about it and everything. And she's like, "What the heck? Max got blown up and David doesn't know about this. Well, I'm going to go and tell him about this." And he's like, "No, Toya, don't tell him, please." So he manages to calm her down for a bit, but she goes over to the cafe anyway, doesn't she? And she gets her very own break cliffhanger, where she says, "Oh, David and Shona, I need to tell you something about Griff." Da da da. He's well dodgy. You have to wait 3 minutes for that. She bottles out because Spider comes in and he's kind of looming over her, and she's like, "No, maybe I don't want to give his secret away." So And David's like, oh, what are you doing back from the camping trip? And he says, oh, Max will be back soon.
Toya
Shona tells him to bog off.
Toya's smarter than Spider, I think. So surely she can see that by telling people that he's an undercover police officer would completely undermine all of the work that he's done to try to infiltrate that group and give everybody absolutely no chance whatsoever of
taking him down.
I mean, did he tell them?
He told Toya all about. He told her everything.
Well, she knows then that something big is coming, so I don't think that she would actually go around telling everybody.
Yeah. Hopefully
what I think is going to happen, what I hope happens, is that she gets involved and becomes a little amateur sleuth for him.
You reckon? I don't know whether there's going to be time. I just got an idea that, like Griff has said, something big is happening at New Year. Toya's been fairly minor character in the last couple of episodes now, unless they're probably going to ramp things up quickly. I don't know how heavily she's going to be involved in it, apart from she's now going to catch some of the fallout, because not only will David be mad at Spider, Toya will be, you know, I know she's already been the pariah this year. Maybe she thinks, yeah, what's another one? What difference is that going to make? But yeah, I think that, you know, she and Shona might be falling out and stuff. I don't know. Anyway. So back to the hospital, and Lauren and Reese come there visiting Max, and Lauren is also in the dark about this explosion. Because she seems to think, sure, she believes the story about it being an exploding camping stove, which is what he's been telling the police. Then Griff comes in. Reese has gone by this point, and Max is like, why haven't you told Lauren what we were up to? And what was that in the boot? Because at this point, Max knew that he saw some kind of device. He's a little confused about what happened on the day, because he's just, you know, woken up from this. He was in a coma, and then he wasn't, in a good way. And Griff says, "You're asking too many questions." And Max is like, "You tell me something. Was it a bot?" And Griff's like, "Look, you're right. It wasn't something that I acquired legally, but that's all you need to know. We're just going to have a bit of fun blowing up some hay bales." So there's your answer to what apparently they were going to say they were going to do. But I can't remember who it is later in the week suggests that they were going to be on some kind of test run for what is actually going to be happening, presumably at New Year. But anyway, Griff kind of then turns it on Max and says, none of this would have happened if you hadn't found it in the boot and fiddled with it. And Max didn't do anything with it, did he? He just kind of took it out from under he just lifted a blanket off of it. But Griff is now putting it squarely on him, saying it's your fault. You shouldn't have even looked at it, because it's because of this that it's now your fault and it's blown up. So he's kind of guilting Max into staying quiet about it, which is quite clever and a bit dumb of Max. But anyway, then the police come in, and they were saying, oh, we heard there was an explosion out in Ogden Moss yesterday. And I looked up Ogden Moss, and it isn't actually a real place, at least as far as I could tell. So I'm just going to assume that this is actually a Hilda reference.
Shout out.
She did go up, and you know, when she left Coronation Street 35 years ago, she went to work for Dr. Lauder, didn't she? So I'm just imagining that she went up in the world, and now she owns a big bit of land.
She owns a bog.
Yeah, exactly.
And they can't call it Ogden Bog, because that's too rhyming.
Yeah, Hilda Bogton is what I call that storyline. Anyway, the cops like, do you know anything about this explosion? And Max says, oh yeah, it was just a gas canister that exploded, and you know, with no other information to go on, they just have to take his word for it and then leave. And Griff is very pleased with his young grasshopper. So Griff and Spider get talking later in the waiting room, and Spider is still trying to dig for information about this, but Griff clearly doesn't want anybody apart from his very, very, very inner circle, which was basically just him and Reese knowing exactly what was going on with this bomb. And so he won't tell Spider. Griff says, you know, he tries again to try and get Max out of it by saying, you know, he's a liability. Maybe we should give him the old heave-ho. And Griff says, no, I'm in charge here. You don't make suggestions like that. We're keeping him. I think he's going to be valuable to us. So then we have Toya speaking to Spider on the phone later. He says, thanks very much for backing me up with not telling David. And it seems like she's maybe coming round to his way of thinking about, yeah, maybe it's best for all round if I don't, you know, fess up about this. So she's like, right, sounds like it's been really difficult for you, Spider, but you're not alone anymore. You want to come over? Nick and Leanne are out for the night. Hey. She's such a horny devil, isn't she, that Toya Battersby?
She knows what she wants.
She is. She's like, last 24 hours earlier, she was there like saying, no, I don't want anything to do with you. You've been having a racist phone call. And now she's ready to drop her drawers for him again.
Terrible.
So he's like, I can't get involved, Toya. I can't protect you. Poor Imran. He's literally, he's going to be spinning in his grave, isn't he? Like, Imran who? I was thinking about all this. So Spider takes Max home and reminds him that these are the people that care for you and love you. Go and have a nice happy Christmas together with them. Don't give Griff another thought for the moment. So Max goes in and he tells them that he was in hospital for this exploding camping stove, but he's fine now. I just didn't want you getting mad at Griff, David. But David is still pretty mad and has shown us I haven't got the time for this now, David. He's home, he's safe, he's in one piece. Let's just be grateful for this. End of the episode, Spider goes back to see Toya again. He's also, he can't keep his hands off her. He's got smut on the mind, has Spider. And she tells him, oh, I want to be with you, Spider. I don't care about the risks. And she gives him a kiss. And he's like saying, no, I can't protect you. And she's like, look, I'm gonna be afraid of what's going on, whatever happens. So we can either be afraid apart or afraid together. I don't know which one I prefer. Also, no one's going to find out about your secret. Definitely not. It's safe with me. I will not tell anybody about this, and it's definitely. I don't trust Toya on that one jot. She's a massive blabber, is Toya. Anyway, so Spider and Toya have a lovely evening together, full of Christmassy games and fun, I'm sure. So Sunday's episode. So Christmas Day. This is kind of more focuses on the Platts rather than the racists, I suppose. But Gail's got herself a birdhouse for Christmas. And Corrie Christmas Day innuendo number 1, Sally tells her, you need to get your hands on some fat balls.
Yeah.
Almost perfect delivery from Sally Dinover there. It did sound a little bit too much like she was talking about testicles than actual...
You wouldn't say fat balls, you'd say fat balls.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that she put the stress on balls a little bit too much, but isn't it funny? Classic Corrie comedy there. Inside the Platts, it seems things are going well for them. Kids are getting their presents at lunchtime for some reason.
And being middle class, Michael.
And totally being... Well, I mean, when did we open our presents on Christmas Day? It was like 3 o'clock or something, was it? If not, I don't. I know you're from. I don't like that family tradition of your family.
A family with can't wait to get their mitts on.
No, Christmas presents open by 10 in the morning. At least, come on, that's tradition.
No.
Not for us, apparently. Anyway, the Platts and the Battersbys are having their Christmas dinner at the bistro later. So it's who was there? Stephen, Audrey, Gail, David, Lily, Max, and then, like you said earlier, Toya and Leanne kind of plonked on the end for the Nick link, I suppose. And they're just having a nice time. And Max gets his Edit Suite Pro as a present from David and Shona. Some people were saying about why is there a boxed version of it, and these things aren't they just download these days? But I don't know.
Maybe it's got a little.
Maybe it's got a little code inside. It's still nice to have something to unwrap, isn't it?
You don't want to open a bit of paper with a code written on it, do you? You want a box.
Yeah. Literally no idea what was in the box because I'm sure his laptop doesn't have a CD drive. But anyway,
maybe it's got a little USB stick in it.
So he's chuffed with this, and there's some really nice scenes, and it is funny, like seeing there's glimmers of nice Max still coming through in this story, isn't there? Which is what makes him a really interesting character to me, because there are times when he's like really vile and he's dismissive to David and being just general grumpy teenager, but sitting him there with like Lily, because Lily says, "Oh, did you like the present?" and he's like, "I love it." And he's just like really sweet.
And she gave up her pocket money for it. What did he get her?
I don't know. Probably a recruitment leaflet of sorts or something. Anyway, so they're having a lovely time there until David makes a crack about Griff. And he says, "Oh, I didn't think that Griff would be celebrating Christmas this year. What with Jesus coming from the Middle East and being Jewish and all that." And Max is like, I'm not having any of this. You're always making a dig about him. I love it when he says he's not racist, and the way that he delivers that line, and he's had to do it a couple of times, is like he's kind of smiling through it, like he's still 100% convinced, isn't he? And he's just thinking, I'm utterly fed up of everybody saying this. I think he's doing a really good job of that. But anyway,
he says, at least he cares about me.
Yeah, at least he cares about me. Not like you. Well, I don't even why I bothered coming to this meal. Moody teenager mode, off he goes. He ends up at Griff's, who's telling him, we've got these big plans coming up for New Year. Everyone's going to have a part to play. So he's obviously got, he's got his designs on what everyone's going to be doing, and Max is going to be there. Probably the sacrificial lamb in the whole thing in some way. I don't know what he's going to do, because up until this point he's really just been there for the propaganda side of things, hasn't he, and making his videos and stuff. But I don't know. I've got a feeling that he's going to be put in a very, very difficult position. Maybe he'll get probably hurt this time. I don't know. Anyway, Spider takes Max to one side and says, I don't think you should be here, go back to your family. And Max is like, no, not interested actually. Monday's episode, it's breakfast time. David's there with Max. It's all very awkward. Max isn't interested in engaging with him really. He heads out, goes to chat with Lauren in the cafe. Lauren's had a fairly small part in this story for quite a while now, hasn't she? Compared to everyone else. I know she's there as she's the character that's really what's keeping Max, giving him something to care about, and now he's got his heart in this group because of Lauren. But as a person herself, I'm not really sure. We don't really know her particularly well.
No.
And how much that she knows as well, because she's obviously been brainwashed as well.
Well, she's not been involved in their plan for the camping trip.
No. So it still was a little unclear about what they were actually going to be doing on this camping trip.
But she obviously completely buys into their rhetoric, and because she's been raised in this sort of
in this environment for the whole of her life. I wonder whether Reese realises this could be very dangerous what they're getting into, and although he likes to have Lauren on his side and she can be quite useful, he doesn't want to risk her getting properly hurt. Because Reese doesn't. Yeah. Because she is his daughter after all, so the less she knows about it the better maybe.
Maybe she'll die and it will turn Reese to ally with Spider better.
Yeah, maybe. We did suggest that as an idea last week, didn't we? That Reese kind of goes off as not the Lauren dying bit, but Reese going off because he wants to be the new leader or whatever it is. I would hope certainly push Max away from Griff as well. I don't know. Anyway, so we have another Christmas market scene later on, and David has a bit of a confrontation with Griff and Max, and David says, "Oh, Griff, you need to leave my son alone." And they have a bit of a push and a shove and everything, which ends in Max telling David, "Oh, I hate you," and I'm gonna go and live with Griff. So he does really. He's getting ready to pack up to leave to go to Griff's house later, and David has a last ditch attempt to getting through to him, but Max says, "You're not my dad," and then he leaves. So what can David and Shona do now? They've got themselves into a bit of a tricky legal situation. Let's get our brightest young legal mind on Coronation Street. Somebody must know things about law and stuff.
A lot of experience working in that.
Should we ask Adam? No. Should we ask the policeman, Craig? No. He's too busy scoffing his.
Why don't we ask Dee Dee?
No. Alia, there you go.
Oh, yeah, she'll know.
You've been working at the law office for about a month now. Tell us what you reckon.
Part-time.
Yeah. Tell us what you think we can do with Max here. Can we do Griff a kidnap? And then she's like, I don't think so, but I will double check with Dee Dee.
She's like, oh, I think I read a bit of paper that said something about this the other day. How convenient.
Genius. Very convenient. And anyway, she's going to check with Dee Dee, so she scurries off to do that. We don't hear anything more about her. And the last scene of the episode is David turning up at Griff's house later with his tail between his legs. Shona's kind of told him, you need to go and be a bit more humble about this and try and get Max back. So David says, look, sorry, Max, I thought the worst of you. I'm going to try and do harder. You may not think of me as a dad anymore, but you'll always be my son and I love you. And Max is like, no, he's not interested. And Griff's kind of smirking to David and saying, I'll take care of him now. And just shoves David out the door and closes it in his face. So
hilarious.
Full-on separation has happened between Max and David. He's chosen his side.
Yep, sad.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
Any extra thoughts about this one? think we've kind of covered a lot of them as we've gone through. I don't know. I just think, like I said before, it feels like we're in very much the same situation now as we were a week ago, apart from Max has got a few burns on him.
Well, and Toya knows.
Oh yeah, Toya knows is, I suppose, the biggest development here. But even I've been just very frustrated with how little Toya there's been in this story, even though she should be.
The major
it feels like not a major one, but she should be a bit more of a bigger part. And yeah, she's back with Spider again, but it seems so far as in so what.
The bomb was really the catalyst for Spider telling Toya.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know that you needed to blow somebody up for that. Do you know what I mean? I don't know.
I'd like to see a bit more of Toya kind of wrestling with what can I do about this.
Yeah, but she can't tell anybody. She it would have to be her talking to herself, which is ridiculous.
We've not even seen scenes of her and Spider apart from on that Christmas Eve episode or the 23rd of December episode. They've not had anything to do with each other since, and it's like, well, if they're a team now, let's show them as a team.
Yeah.
You know, that, like, why couldn't Toya have had Christmas Day with him, or I don't know.
Because he's with the racists.
Yeah, I know, but, or she could have tempted him away from the racists, and I don't
it's his
think
job.
he'd have been welcome at the bistro.
No,
Didn't even get Christmas Day off.
No.
Do you think that she's making a mistake? Being with Spider. It's kind of nice that that they're back together, because I do enjoy them as a couple, and I don't know whether there's very much now that could make Toya reject him again, because she seems to know everything, and she, like I said, she's been a pariah when she's stuck with Imran earlier this year as well.
Yeah. I mean, in my mind, what I imagine happens is once this storyline is over, then Toya and then for some reason it's going to get revealed to everybody that Spider was an undercover policeman, even though that's not what you would really do in real life, because you want to maintain your
I guess so.
anonymity.
You can't do any more undercover stuff around there.
I think he'll quit. I think he'll quit being an undercover policeman and go back to whatever he was before.
I would hope so.
And then they'll just. Or he'll leave the street, which I don't want him to do.
I don't want him to go, but it really does feel like.
But I don't want him to have to be left alone.
No, okay. I don't. They're, you know, secret sneaking about policey stuff aside, Toya and Spider clearly do make a really great match. So it'd be a shame for him to leave the show and leave her on her own again, and then, you know, fall into, you know, relative Coronation Street obscurity again, because she doesn't have that many other links with other characters on the street, does she? So I don't know. So I'm just going to say I somewhat enjoyed this, but I'd like to be enjoying it more. But I do have high hopes for something hopefully explosive on New Year's Eve. Will somebody end up dead in it? I don't know.
I think Lauren's going to die. That's my.
Is that your prediction?
Yeah,
is
yeah,
it?
yeah.
Lauren's going to cop it.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, we will have to see.
Could buy the turkey farm.
Wedding Days storyline, Gemma. Back to you. What has Daniel and Daisy been up to?
On Friday, Daniel comes round to the Rovers to ask Jenny for Daisy's hand in marriage, which I thought was really cute. And he gives her the ring, and she's like, "Oh, I love it. Thanks so much. Wow." And she's like. He says, "You do know I'm not proposing to you." And Jenny says, "You wouldn't get me in a million years, mate."
Jenny hasn't had a huge amount to do over these past few days, but I did. I have appreciated her. Yeah. When she said that, and then when later on in the scene where Jenny's like saying, "Just don't hurt her ever." That was a brilliant delivery of it as well, because she's going from like cheery, joyful, my daughter is going to be proposed to, just to straight you mess about with her, mate. I loved it.
So Daniel's got some decorations out in the attic to spruce up the scaffolding, and there's a funny little thing in there from Tracy.
Oh yeah, well that gets revealed later, doesn't it? Tracy's Tracy Langton, age 7, macaroni angel. What they see in this scene though is the Christmas card from Don and Ivy. There were nice. Quite a few little references to old characters in the Christmas Day episodes and thereabouts, because you got your Jack and Vera, which is maybe a little bit tired around Tyrone and Fiz. I can't remember who else. Oh, well, Les with his turkey farm that he went off to. So that was all quite nice. But the funny thing with this card from the Brennans was it said like, oh, to the Barlows, wishing you a very merry and blessed Christmas. I hope you have a wonderful Christmas, 1989. And well, the Barlows did not have a wonderful Christmas, 1989. This was when Ken reveals that he's seeing Wendy Crozier. I think it was a Christmas Eve revelation to Deirdre.
Oh dear.
So they actually had possibly the worst ever Christmas on that year. So I wonder whether it was randomly picked or whether it was picked like kind of
Hopefully
ironically by the writers or by the archivists.
I wonder whether that was the reason they saved that card, just out of irony.
Ken loves a bit of irony.
I
He's
know.
like proper literate, isn't he?
It's like, oh, this was pathetic fallacy. No, that's not what that is it?
No.
Daniel, Daisy finds her present under the tree, and they've had a budget of £20 each.
Mm-hmm.
But whatever he's bought her is in a bottle bag, and she thinks that's a bit unoriginal.
Yes, it's probably some wonky
It's
duck.
not a wonky duck because it's £20 limit.
Oh yeah, it's more expensive than that.
Aggie's not.
I did a better job than he did. It was
Well
Christmas
done.
for you.
Well done.
That wasn't the only thing I got you at all.
No.
I won't brag. What? You're just trying to think about other things that I got you for Christmas. I got you a giant panettone. You love them.
It's salted caramel panettone.
From John Lewis. Thank you very much.
Good job. How much was that?
No, I can't remember, but more than 20 quid.
He got me some gin and some panettone.
Yeah, and other things.
Yeah, all right.
But no wedding ring. Oh, engagement ring. You don't need one.
No thanks. Aggie's not impressed by the scaffolding. And I thought that she decided to do a bizarre... Because Coronation Street sometimes goes completely crazy at Christmas, as we all have just discussed. And Aggie's not impressed by the scaffolding that's decorated. And then when they get home from the pub, all the presents are gone. And I thought that Aggie had stolen them all to like teach them a lesson about the true meaning of Christmas or something bizarre like that.
Aggie shinning up the scaffolding.
Well, it turns out Tracy's bedroom window was open and that's how they got in. And she blames Steve's scaffolding. And Daniel's devastated because the ring was under the tree.
I find it very unlikely that somebody would have been able to climb up the scaffolding and in through that window. Because there's always people going up and down that street.
In broad daylight.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. And, let's not forget, number one has got a video doorbell.
Yeah.
So, seriously, have they thought of checking that footage? Because I think our culprit has been found.
Yeah, I think that's
Or
what
could have been
that's
found.
what boggled my mind about this. This is why I didn't think it was a burglar because burglar.
There's supposed to be...
Because there's too many things that don't make sense.
There's supposed to be scaffolding out the back, actually, isn't there? And I don't know whether Tracy's bedroom is supposed to be the front or the back room.
Let's just say that's what happened then.
Yeah.
Anyway, Daniel's devastated and Daisy's like only thinking about Bertie's present, which I thought was very sweet. Because his presents have all gone now.
Yeah, he's got his neutron man that he's supposed to be getting.
Immediately dashes off to town to try and get him a replacement. Daniel goes to the pub and tells Jenny about the ring, and he says, I'm not going to propose now because I don't have the ring. Ken sees Aggie at the market, tells her about the burglary, and she says she sees Daniel breaking the bad news to Bertie.
Yes.
This is why my thing was like, I obviously this is not going to come back.
I don't know. I mean, we still don't have a culprit, do we?
No. In the pub
Was that
later,
Alina as well?
Daisy's telling Daniel about how she wasn't able to get Bertie the present he wanted. And Aggie comes in and says, look, here's some of our presents from the Bailey stash. And can you turn off the scaffolding lights, please? And I don't think they do.
I thought that was lovely. I thought that was very nice and heartwarming. I love Aggie. Give her more nice things to do, because I thought that was lovely.
Yeah. She's like, you can have these presents. I'm not going to be there on Christmas Day. I'm bloody working.
I don't know what it is that she ended up getting them. But even though there's a few presents for Bertie in there, and she's like, oh, he's probably a bit young for them. Like, what is there that, like, Michael would have been gifted for Christmas that is still appropriate for Bertie? Has he got himself a bottle of... Yeah, Michael Bailey.
Yeah.
Has he got himself, like, a bottle of... He's probably bought a box of a Lynx Africa gift set or something. That's the classic.
Classic. And if you're a lady, you get Dove.
Yeah.
Daisy is feeling chilled with her
Presentless.
Christmas because she's like, I don't mind because I'm not going to die of cancer. And that's all I really care about at the moment. Which is a very nice present to get, isn't it? Jenny's telling Daniel that he needs to ask Daisy anyway, even if he doesn't have a ring. And he says, no, I want to do it properly. Jenny tells Ken and Rita about the situation, and Ken's like, well, what an idiot, he can still propose. So Daniel and Daisy are in the pub, about to leave, and Ken's like, no, pull a cracker before you do. And they pull the cracker, and inside is a wedding ring and a slip of paper saying, will you marry me? And Daniel realises what's going on. He gets down on one knee, and Daisy accepts, and everyone applauds.
Ah.
I thought that was really sweet,
I thought that was a sweet way of doing it. I thought it was really nice, warm, kind of cosy scene, that one. And when they pulled the cracker and there was the little clink on the floor, I thought it was lovely.
And also, the little will you marry me for Daniel, and then Daisy says, oh, is there one in there for me? And Ken's like, it's a bit presumptuous, isn't it?
It was lovely. I thought that that Jenny and Ken as the proud kind of parents was very sweet.
Everyone's happy.
And Daisy,
for them.
She was looking gorgeous on Christmas Day as well, wasn't she?
Oh, she looked fabulous.
Bright red lipstick and all that.
Back at home later, Daisy's uploaded a photo of her engagement ring to her favourite social media site, SendPX. And she gets a comment from this charming man, all in caps, which says, beautiful, just like you. And Daniel's like, oh, don't like that comment. But Daisy says, oh, everyone's just really happy for us. So on Monday, Daniel and Daisy are talking about the weddings, and she's like, oh, I wouldn't mind a small ceremony, but something really a bit bigger wouldn't be bad, would it? And then Mary comes in, and Daisy says, oh, I should do a little video on my social media to promote your flower shop. And Mary and Daisy think that's both a brilliant idea.
Yeah, because Daisy decided that she wants to, it might be a bad idea to try and fund the wedding with funding. Oh my gosh, you're right.
Yes.
You take a glug of gin again.
All right.
Yeah, she thinks that getting some money from her sponsors, because she's big name in Weatherfield social media. She wouldn't get money.
She's going to get things, like this. So
but she could get things and then sell them.
Yeah, but they'll be for the wedding,
I guess.
When she posted her engagement picture, some of the comments on the social media site were like, oh, we should do a collab, we should do...
We did have a pause, didn't we, in a read of them. There was no Edgar Allan Poe on the comments this week.
No. So it wasn't explicitly stated here, but I think the obvious thing here is that Daisy and Daniel do a little post on social media featuring Barlow's Preston's petals, and then they will do their wedding flowers for them at reduced price or free or something.
Yeah, something like
that. So they do this video where she's saying, oh, I'm here with Preston's petals, blah, blah, blah. And Daniel's in the background just saying, oh, this is a load of old crap, I hate this, and just ruining it all every take.
He's ruining it. Mary's ruining it by jumping in going, hello, it's me, Mary.
I don't know why Amy's there, but she's there as well.
I didn't get why Amy
I know, she's related to Daniel.
Yeah, she seemed like a bit superfluous to the whole scene.
Well, really, she's just excited that Daisy's getting married, I guess. But yeah, I don't know why she was there.
The only reason I can think of is because they then needed her to go into the cafe later and tell
Carla.
Yeah, tell Carla what's been going.
Hang on, let me get to it. So Daniel's like, this is all fake. He huffs off, and then he's with Carla later in the cafe, and he's like, I really hate all this social media stuff. And then Amy comes in and has a go at him, and it was like an advert for Twitter. She's like, oh, Daisy was only doing this to fund your wedding, and also she's posted about how to check your boobs. So sometimes it is just selfies, but a lot of the time it's actually really important stuff on social media. You're just a snob who doesn't understand.
Yeah, but no better than that Chris Pringle.
Yeah.
But he's not on SendPX either.
Yeah, but he hates social media. Mary comes in excited to the pub later. She's like, oh, wow, the social media post. We've had so many orders because of you. Thank you so much. And Daniel comes in and apologises and says that I know social media is not my thing, but it is your thing, and I respect you for that. And if you want to have another go at this video, I'll help you out. And she's looking through her messages, and then another person, this charming man comes up again, and she doesn't mention it, and Daniel doesn't notice.
Yeah, so this is kind of setting the seeds for a new storyline, it seems, doesn't it? Some kind of social media, is she going to have a stalky follower online? And the theory that I've seen bandied about online is that this charming man is actually that chap with the cancerous mum from the hospital last week, which makes sense because he did feel like
he was overly...
he was overly main character-ish.
Yeah.
He wasn't just there for the sake of it. So, what would you think about that being a story?
Well, it would be a bit random that he found her on social media.
I don't think so. I can't remember whether she showed him anything.
People get stalky and weird, so I'm not really that surprised, to be honest.
Yeah, but do you think that could Coronation Street do a good job of a social media stalking storyline? Although, haven't we also just had this with Maria getting stalked online? Is this another repeat of something that we've only just recently had?
Depends on how serious and scary it gets, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's going to be... I would hope that Daisy's not going to have her head turned by this guy. Although, to be fair, Daniel is being a massive arse about pretty much everything at the moment. She should have thrown that proposal back in his face, to be honest. As sweet as it was and how much I do like them as a couple, he's not doing a good job of being a fiancé.
I think he's got a point, though. I'm on his side more than I'm on her side. But unfortunately, if you're going to marry the girl, you've got to agree that this is what she wants to do. And if you don't agree with it, then don't be in a relationship with her, because it's obviously like one of the most important things. And
it's not like something that's been made up new for her character either,
No.
Is it? Ever since she's been in it, she has been a big social media girl.
But I feel a bit bad for Daniel, because if you're going to have a stance against social media and you find it intrusive and silly and weird, you're definitely not going to enjoy having your whole preparations for your wedding and your wedding on social media for sponsorship. I mean, that just seems really tacky.
Yeah, but I still think that he should have made a bit more of an effort with it when he was just standing there.
Well, that he agreed to do it.
Looking like an idiot.
That's the thing. He shouldn't have agreed to be involved in it at all if he was going to be like that about it.
No, he's just spoiling it.
Yeah, I agree with that.
It's a bit like the Tyrone on Christmas morning thing,
just
with
trying to ruin everything.
Yeah, just being purposefully ruiny.
Yeah, I can't. I mean, I found it a bit weird that the moral of the story was that social media is good, and
can be good,
even if you're a vacuous twit who puts every single moment of your life on the internet all the time forever, but you post something about your boobs, then it's like a net win for good.
Do you think that the wedding is going to take place? Should we be getting our hats for 2023?
Yeah, I hope so.
I really do hope so, because
I mean, to say just about social media and stuff. I mean, I've done all this myself. I used to do collabs in return for things, put stuff on the internet and things like that. So, I can see why it's exciting for Daisy to want to do that, but I just find it weird to involve very, very personal parts of your life. And because you do end up with people like this guy,
yeah.
Even I ended up with people that were weird and like started asking you questions, and men get really odd with you, and they will ask you for weird pictures, or they'll like weird pictures, and you realise that there's a weird theme to what they're up to.
Do you think he's either going to be sending her a bit of a rude picture of a part of his anatomy, or kidnapping? They do like a good kidnap on Coronation Street, don't they?
One of those two is more likely than the other on Coronation Street. I don't think we're going to get dick pics.
Well, they had that earlier this year with Max, didn't they? And he's got away with it.
Oh, he got away with it, didn't he?
Yeah. Well, he got bullied for a little bit, but I think everyone seems to have forgotten about that, wouldn't they?
I think I would like the moral of the story to be a bit like, don't put everything about yourself online, because I think that's just wise. I think that you should keep a few bits back to yourself, but maybe that's hypocritical, because we talk about very personal things on our podcast.
Yeah, that's very true. But yeah, we haven't had any crazy online stalkers coming after us yet, have we? And it's been 10 years now, so I think
I think we're all right.
I think we're all right and safe now.
But it's just a bit dangerous to sort of put, especially like, oh, here's my engagement ring, which looked like it was worth about 10 grand at least, and it was Ken's mum's sisters.
Yes, yeah. Apparently, I did look this up. Apparently, Ken's mum Ida has got two sisters. Did I write it down? Yeah. There's a sister called Ethel and a sister called Vera, neither of whom appeared on the programme. So,
I thought it would have been sweet if it had been Deirdre's ring, but
yeah, I was expecting it to be somebody who we knew, or I was half expecting Jenny to be able to cough up the ring that Johnny had given her, or
but
something.
would it be
like that. I don't know.
cursed? You know, if it's from Deirdre. But then
maybe. William
gave Catherine Diana's ring, and I thought that was dodgy and cursed.
Oh, yeah.
But she apparently liked it.
They're all right, yeah. I wonder, is this going to be the story that finally brings Mr. Midgley back into the programme? Because, you know, there's no reason, I don't think, that Daisy's dad shouldn't be involved or told about this or anything like that, do you? I can't remember what the state of their relationship is supposed to be. I know that she's shacked up at the Rovers with Jenny now, but I don't think she's estranged. I want to go back in
time and rewatch how she came in, because she came in with, wasn't that something to do with Sam and Moose? And
I don't know.
And she came in when Jenny was getting ready for a party or something with her gormless boyfriend.
I don't remember. I know that she did have a scene where she kind of opened up to Jenny a little bit and said, "Oh, since Tom died, and Dad kind of half blamed me or something." I can't remember. There's something, but I don't think that he's completely estranged. But I guess if it suits the storyline, he can be. I was a little bit miffed, to be honest, this week about the fact that Scylla wasn't invited to Tyrone and Fiz's wedding.
That would have made it perfect.
Didn't even get a mention. It didn't even get a phone call of, "What's that, Scylla? Your osteoporosis is playing up again." Oh well, never mind.
Okay.
He was supposed to just be pleased that Evelyn's turned up. But anyway, I think that Daniel and Daisy, I hope that they do go the distance.
I mean, it's a bit soon to be engaged, because they've only known each other as much, you know.
Yeah, but I think
she
hasn't
even been in it for that long.
She's not been in it that long, but it kind of fits with Daniel. He is he likes his poetry, and he's a bit of an old romantic about these things, doesn't he? He's not had his mother figure in his life after Denise. Buggered off basically. So he wants to have some kind of lady looking after him in a way. He needs somebody to give his hugs to, doesn't he? I suppose.
I just think there's so much conflict that is just simmering and ready for this couple.
Well, that's good, I suppose.
But I wonder if they're going to use it, because I feel like they manufacture the most boring, "Oh, I thought you fancied her. Oh, you're having an affair. No, I'm not. Oh, yes, I am." Like, think of all the stuff with Sarah and Adam, which was really boring. I can't even remember what it all was. That kind of conflict has been done a million times. But with Daniel and Daisy, there's actually quite a lot of really interesting things here. Like, did you just marry me so I could babysit your son for you?
Yeah.
Am I just a replacement for Sinead? I'm fed up with you thinking that I'm, as in Gemma's words, a vacuous twit.
And him saying, "Did you only marry me so that you could get more followers?"
That's exact. Well. Also, him saying, "Are you a gold digger and after my house?"
Yeah.
And her saying, "Well, listen, we're both adults. We're married now. Everything that is yours is mine, and vice versa. Why are we living here? Why don't you sell your house so we can live somewhere nice together?" And him being like, "Oh,
They can't stay living in number one together once they're married.
Well, they're also not going to live in Denise's house, are they?
No.
So I just think there's a lot of interesting conflict, which actually feels very real and not at all manufactured and, like made up the week before for them to have arguments about. And I think they could overcome all those obstacles, and I think that they would be a more interesting couple if they went through those.
But I also do hope that they're not going to be one of these couples that stay together for a year and then split up. But I mean, I guess that's partly dependent on whether Rob and Charlie want to stay in the programme, because both of those actors, I think, could potentially say, I've made my name on Coronation Street, I'm ready to spread my wings, and I think that both of those would be a massive blow to the programme. But that doesn't mean I don't think it's going to happen. I think it's. I would say it's more likely than not that one of them will choose to leave at some point in the next 5 years. I'm sad to say, but hopefully I'll be proven wrong. Just before we move on, I do also want to say how lovely I thought it was that Daniel asked Jenny's permission to get married for Daisy's hand in marriage. I thought that was very sweet and traditional and lovely.
Okay.
So did Gemma probably.
Well, I did, yeah, but I'm surprised you said that.
Why? Because I didn't do it to you.
Yeah.
Anyway. Couch for the Grouch story. So last week, Gemma predicted that George has actually ordered a tiny doll's house size sofa.
Well, I think
And you were
anyone could
proven
have
right.
predicted it if we had known that he ordered it from Gulliver's Furniture.
I don't think that they gave that one away beforehand, did they?
No, but
there was a bit of a clue within there, George, that you should have maybe picked up on.
It should have been called Gullible Furniture.
So
I want to know how much this thing cost.
I know, I'm really confused. Like, it was a bargain, but how much was it? Like 50 quid or something?
Because honestly, like, to buy a sofa, like from DFS to buy a sofa is like $1,000 for like a big sofa, and like for a small kind of 2-seater in a like FCS or whatever it is.
Yeah, SCS.
SFC.
SCS.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Is like, you know, a cheap one in the sale now is about 200 quid.
Yeah.
So how much was it really? £100?
I do wonder.
Because
I don't know how
that
much doll
furniture,
sells.
it did look quite exquisite in the picture, like very, very nicely detailed, but it didn't look like sofa money expensive.
No, I don't know. But like you said last week on the podcast, people have fallen into this trap before.
Yeah, they have.
But anyway, this story was particularly interesting to us because we also had a sofa delivered on the same day as
Exactly
George
the
did,
same
didn't we?
day.
Literally the very same day. So we bought this sofa for our lounge. We went to DFS, when was it, beginning of November, I think?
No, it's the end of October.
End of October, and they guaranteed Christmas delivery. And we were getting towards the beginning of last week, still hadn't heard from them and saying, oh yeah, Christmas delivery my arse.
They sent us an email going, oh, your sofa's been delivered to the shop and you'll get it soon. And that was the 2nd of December.
That was the 2nd of December. But then we got in touch with the DFS and they're like saying, oh no, there's a mistake. There's a foam shortage going on, don't you know? And so yeah, we were very, very pessimistic about getting our sofa. But then we got a message to say that it would be delivered on the 23rd. So it was quite funny that George's was also on the same day.
Yeah.
Except we got a real full-size sofa.
Yeah, we
You can
did.
sit on it and everything. It's not even a coffin.
And somehow, at the end of this story, they end up with a sofa that they bought that day. But we won't ask questions about how...
Boxing Day sales, isn't it?
Yeah, but that's not... Okay, that's not how it works.
Friday then. So Lawrence is still there. He
Lawrence is
he
weird.
disappears for Christmas Day.
I don't know what's going on with
There's
this.
maybe some kind of mystery,
I think
but I'm
his
really
wife's
not
not-
interested in
I know,
it.
I'm not interested, but I think his wife's not dead.
Do you reckon she's still on the scene,
Yeah.
do you?
And also, he was walking around with this vest on, and everyone was fawing over him. Even online, people were going, "Oh, he's so handsome! He's so so delicious. He's got his top off and he's wearing a vest." And absolutely no disrespect to this guy. He is very handsome and he has got a nice body. But that was the most grandad-looking vest I've ever seen.
He did look a
since
bit
my
like something-
granddad died. My granddad used to wear vests like that with very thick arm things.
Yeah.
Why did it look like
Arm
such an
straps.
old man's vest?
He did look a bit
And
like
also-
something out of Steptoe and Son.
Why was he wearing a vest under his shirt? I thought he was a normal human being.
It's cold
Do
up
men
north, isn't
still
it?
wear vests under their shirts?
I don't know. I thought it was very odd.
It's a very old-fashioned thing to do,
Yeah, anyway.
and it didn't flatter him at all. It
It
made
really
him
bit-
look quite chunky.
That's what I thought.
And
That-
he's quite...
Not that I'm necessarily one to judge on how hot guys are, but
He's
you
very
know,
spe-
him with his
he-
arms out, I was like,
He's a good-looking guy, and he's got a good body, but that vest, my God.
Well, it certainly does the trick for Todd, who's probably quite
Todd's
thinking for there.
Todd's like, wow, vests, I need a vest.
Yeah, he's taking his jumper off because it's tiring. It's tiring work, isn't it? To make humping
Humping what?
sofas around all over the
okay.
place. Yes, and by the time you've done it, you are probably feeling
Banjacks.
Banjacks. There we go. It's been a while since I've had one of those. Anyway, so their plan on Friday is to get Eileen out of the house. Didn't she? Was it that night that she stayed on at George's? It was the night before, wasn't it? That they're keeping Eileen away so that they can get the old sofa out and get the new one in. But alas, Eileen is telling George in the cafe that she wants to pop home to go and check that the guys are making a start on the Christmas dinner because she doesn't trust them all the sprout peeling and everything. So, oh no, thinks George, we can't have her going back home. What are we going to do? So he kind of phones up Todd when she's gone to the loo. And we then cut to... Who was it? It takes like 5 guys to move this sofa out of the lounge for some reason. Move it 12 foot out of the lounge. So there's Sean, there's Todd, there's Lawrence, Dylan was there, I think, as well.
We moved our sofa, just the two of us, to get it out of the way.
Yeah. Anyway, he's there. They're all there outside number 11. Todd sees his voicemail, and then George and Eileen come round the corner, and luckily the guys managed to intercept this message just at the right time. And when they're round the corner, they're holding a big sheet up next to it, kind of hiding the old sofa. And Eileen's thrilled by this because George is spinning her some yarn about it, so to do with the Christmas present, and it's quite big and everything. So she's dead excited about all this. But later on, when the sofa does arrive, Gemma, guess what? It's the Tiny Doll's House one. You was right.
Do you think he's going to
Everyone thinks it's hilarious, apart from George.
Do you think he's going to return it and get his money back, or do you think he's going to keep it?
I don't know. Maybe we'll see it on the dresser in the background in the future.
But again, like I pointed out, it wouldn't have suited that room anyway.
It really, really didn't fit. Like it looked like something you'd get in a stately home, or like a little doll's house, didn't it? It was too fancy.
Classic style, but it's not just that even, it's the colour too.
It in no way looked like it would fit among any other of the decorations in that house. So
I'd be more concerned about that if I was Eileen.
Probably for the best. I know. Just imagine if he'd got it and it had been the real size sofa, and Eileen was like,
that would have been
you got me this
actually
for?
Worse.
Yeah.
Because you can't return them.
Anyway, so they're stuck with this tiny sofa on Christmas Eve. Sunday, Christmas Day comes around. Lawrence has got a stomach problem, allegedly, so he can't be there for the Christmas episode.
He's got the squits.
Yeah, something like that. George is still worried about what he's going to do regarding Eileen's present here. And Mary says, oh, I'll just get a big bunch of flowers. And then, oh, yes. And here comes Christmas Day innuendo number 2, Gemma.
What is it?
Mary going on about this guy's this bloke Ramon and his hardy peonies. And how it put a smile on her face every morning for a week.
I didn't get this at all because...
It sounds like penis.
Yeah, but it doesn't, does it? It looks like it could be because it's one letter away.
I thought that she actually didn't do a too bad job of delivering that one. I still kind of rolled my eyes at it because it's like, oh, we're in for this kind of Christmas, are we? No, I thought it was fine.
That was a stretch.
It wasn't.
I'm also annoyed that somebody would besmirch my beloved peonies because they are my favourite flower, actually.
You can besmirch my peonies whenever you want, Gemma. Anyway, they're saying, oh, at least it's not going to be as bad as the coffin that you got her last year, and that gives Todd an idea. So Eileen comes back round the house later after a night out at George's house, and they present her with this new sofa that she's expecting. But she's like, that looks a bit odd. Why is my old bedspread on it? And why is it so low? Never mind, it's the thought that counts. And then she's like, yeah, fine, whatever, I'll go and sit on this sofa. She goes and sits down in it, and it swallows her up, leaps up and pulls back the throw, and it's a coffin. It's filled with cushions and everything. I don't really know what they expected to happen here.
It was a Christmas coffin.
It was funny, when she leaps up and George is like, oh, those Weatherfield furnishing store. What are they going to... I can't believe they've tried this one on us. But literally, what did they expect? What did they think was going to happen here? I know they were trying to put her off sitting on it, but this was surely only a short-term solution. Yeah. I suppose the idea could have been that because we had these Boxing Day sales coming up, that they could have tried to just persuade her to not sit on it for a day and then go off and get another one. I don't know. But anyway.
Well, if she's anything like me on Christmas Day, she didn't even get a chance to sit down.
That is very true. Anyway, Eileen says, what you got planned for me later? Walking off dinner with a stroll around the cemetery to pick me plot. And anyway, he's redeemed himself at the end of the episode because he's cooked a nice Christmas dinner, and that's all you need to get in Eileen's good book. So she gives him his little snake hot water bottle and his pair of earbuds, and we get to hear a funny story about a fellow funeral director who calls out, get in there, when he's listening to a cricket score during a funeral as the curtain's going back. So that was kind of funny. Anyway, the plot twist that I suppose that happens at the end of this episode is that Eileen gets an email from Jason inviting her to be on I'm a Celebrity. be in Thailand for a month.
Wow.
And you got an e-ticket attached to it, and you're coming tomorrow. So, what if she'd said no?
I know. It's a bit
she
annoying,
does have a
isn't it?
job. She can't just drop everything for a month. But, oh well, guess she's got no sick mother to look after. So, I hope none of that. Gemma's, you're playing
Is
around
it-
with
it's not
a
making a noise, is
throw
it?
here. I don't know if you can hear her crackling. It's Gemma individually separating all of the little
It looks
tassels
nice.
from the throw that's on her.
All right, stop doing it then.
On her knees. Anyway, so I thought that was going to be the end that we'd see of this, but the story goes into Friday with Lawrence showing back up again, saying, "Oh, sorry, I couldn't come over yesterday. Let's go for a walk." But
I had
Sean's
the
not
squits.
keen on this. And he gives Sean his present, which is the most low effort present you can imagine, which is a signed photograph, not a signed
Of
photograph.
himself? Of his cast
It's my cast card. They actually gave me one. No, it's a framed photograph of him and Sean together, which
But
must
he
have
loves
set him
it.
back all of about £5. But Todd's looking a bit put out by this, because if you haven't noticed this so far from the many, many hints, Todd kind of got a thing for Lawrence.
He likes dentists.
Yeah, he does. So they're in the pub later, and Lawrence is acting all suspicious. He's getting some emails that are dinging onto his phone or his iPad or something, I can't remember, and Todd notices this, and Lawrence says, "Oh yeah, I'm just emailing my parents." As you do on Christmas Day. Is that the thing?
When you text your parents.
Yeah, he kind of makes it out like emailing your parents is a normal thing. I wouldn't say so. Maybe even phone them up, Lawrence. But anyway, like we said earlier, George and Eileen have got themselves a lovely grey sofa.
It's the most boring
It
sofa
is a very
I've ever
boring
seen in my
plain
life.
sofa. It's not very exciting, is it? But
I
Eileen
mean, it
thinks
looks
it's
fine.
lovely.
It looks comfortable and stuff, but it was like it couldn't be more opposite from what George picked out for her. And
No,
I
I
hope
know.
he's noticed that.
Sean, Dylan and Lawrence are going off to the Peak District for the night, which again, Sean's a bit jealous
Maybe
of, and
they're
Eileen
gonna-
notices this.
No,
And then she
Todd,
goes on a
Todd
trip.
is jealous.
Todd's jealous, sorry, yeah.
Do you think they're going to get blown up by racists?
Oh, maybe.
That'd be quite funny.
Maybe they are going to go and blow things up in the Peak District. I don't think so. But anyway, how did you enjoy this this comedy storyline of Christmas for
It
period?
was fine. It made me laugh. It was silly. But I'm sure lots of people hated it.
It was definitely eye roll worthy, but I don't know. But I think
It was
partly
corny.
because partly because it tied into us getting our new sofa. I kind of appreciated it.
Yeah,
I like the characters that were involved. It seemed like all very predictable and a bit silly.
I
didn't mind it.
And you don't, but I definitely do want there to be a yearly running joke that every year George has a hilarious mishap with Eileen.
I don't know. There's only so
gift.
many years you can really run this.
No, I think there's limitless possibilities.
It was fine. It was fine.
Every year there's always people in the paper, in the local papers, looking sad, posing next to some atrocity that they've been given or accidentally received for Christmas present that they misread the details of, or has been sent the wrong item or something and ruined Christmas. So they could just take their pick of years and years and years of local newspaper stories.
Yeah, I was just thinking with Eileen, we know that she's only going to be away for a month because I'm a Celebrity has got a certain runtime. Do they really need a story about why she's not going to be in it?
I say this every time.
Well, just don't mention it unless I suppose the thing is they're clearly gearing up for this story with Todd and Lawrence, and maybe it'd be weird for Eileen not to be around, so they'd need a reason.
guess
but
so,
I
but I
think
mean,
probably could have got away with
let's-
just not mentioning it.
Let's just talk about the fact that Abby disappeared off the screen for months on end this
Yeah.
year, and she never had an alibi.
No, she just had a baby
She
to
was
look
just
after.
there going, "Oh, I just assume she's
Yeah.
just changing nappies."
Yeah. Anyway, what's going on with Lawrence? Was he really emailing his parents?
No, it's his dead wife.
You reckon?
Yeah, he's managed to set up his Ouija board.
I was
On his phone.
genuinely quite surprised that we didn't have Lawrence and Todd having a bit of a fumble on that sofa.
Well, that's what you wanted.
or in
to
the
happen.
coffin. I'm not saying I wanted it to happen.
But-
It just felt like it was going that way.
Can I just say, whoever is in charge of the set there has not got a fumbly sofa. It's too small. It's a 2-seater.
Oh yeah,
You're
that's
gonna have
true.
a fumble on that. You're gonna put your back
Well,
out.
what if they'd had a fumble on the coffin, then it like closed them in on them?
Oh.
Imagine if the coffin had locked down on them and they'd have been knocking, and then somebody had said, "What's that? Oh, somebody's trapped inside this coffin. Who is it? What the hell? It's naked Lawrence and Todd inside." Close it back up again quickly. Don't trap anything in there, guys, when you're slamming it shut.
Watch your peonies.
Yeah, exactly. That's I assume going to happen. I'm not thrilled with the idea.
No, I
but,
don't. It's like,
But we have the Stephen storyline. Gemma, back over to you.
Poor
more
old
drama here.
Jenny is maudlin on her Leoless Christmas.
Yeah,
on,
a
on
little
Christmas
bit.
Day.
She didn't look mega sad. But
Well, you know,
enough to get her sniffing around Stephen again.
Stephen offers to have a drink with her later, and he seems to be making moves on her, doesn't he? At the family lunch, Stephen's got David a travel pillow that he has to share with Shona.
And it's already blown up as well. He doesn't even get the joy of inflating it himself.
No, and he doesn't get a birthday present either. Because he says it's on its way.
Yeah, not until the next day.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
Stephen gets a text from Elaine going, "Oh, come round later to the Metcalfs. I've got you a present." So he goes over there to see Elaine, and she gives him a hip flask for Christmas. Sally and Tim head out to Craig and Faye's, but Elaine says, "Oh, I feel a bit tired. I'm going to stay here." And then she says, "Oh, I just wanted some more interesting company."
Was this a sly dig about Craig and Faye?
Craig. Yeah. Honestly, though, those two, can you imagine?
Yeah, Christmas Day with Craig and Faye just going on about the menopause again, because that was Faye. Well, I don't know what is going on with that couple, with that character. Like, we've seen them in just like a handful of episodes this year. It's like they're trying to maybe make something interesting in a storyline, but
no,
just know what is going on there. And they despite there being 67 cast members on the Christmas Day episode, Craig and Faye weren't among them.
Craig and Faye.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, Jenny sees Elaine getting a kiss under the mistletoe from Stephen, which annoys her because she knows that Stephen was trying to get
there's been
her.
a couple of scenes in the last couple of days where Jenny has been handily sweeping up outside the Rovers' door to see what's going on outside those houses opposite.
Stephen sees Jenny as Tyrone and Fiz head off in their marital bliss, and he apologises for not coming round earlier, and Jenny says, "Don't worry about it, I'm not." Like, totally dissed him and walked off. On Monday, he tries to apologise to her again and come round to hang out with her, and she says, "Oh, I'm busy later. Sorry." Then he sees Elaine, who tries to get him to go round to hers later. And he's like, "Oh, I don't know what I'm doing. I think I've got to be around Gail's house. I'm not sure." And she's very insistent and won't take no for an answer. Stephen regifts his hip flask as a Christmas present to David. He's not impressed at all. And this was weird because this was the catalyst for Gail working out that something weird is going on with Stephen. Of all the things that have happened, this was the thing, like an inappropriate Christmas present. And I'm just going to say that across the country, there are thousands and thousands, if not millions of people who stuffed up by an inappropriate present for people. And if it all turns out we were murderers, then this country's in a bit of a bad state, isn't it? Because honestly, a hip flask is not really that weird of a present.
Well, I don't...
It's not appropriate, but it's not like he gave him a pregnancy test or something, is it? It's not like a bank robbing mask. Or a pogo stick.
Gail's not the sharpest tool in the box, is she? But something
they're all
sparked in her brain.
They're all intrigued by this. Audrey and Sam don't care. They're going on their trip, and Gail sees this hip flask, and he says, "This is a bit stingy, isn't it? Why is he being so tight and buying weird stuff?" I thought this was funny too because they're assuming it's not made of silver, which it could very well. That hip flask could cost quite a lot, hundreds of pounds, depending on where you buying it from. And if a rich guy bought me a hip flask, I'd assume it was expensive.
Yeah, I think being David, if I were David, I'd also be like, you can make it out whatever you want, but why do I want a hip flask?
Yeah, I know, but how many times have you ever been given something really wildly inappropriate for you by a distant relative?
Yes, yeah, I know that is very true. Or even close relatives sometimes, but yes, absolutely right. And it certainly is enough to make Gail go, something going on here. Flask. I used to be quite a smart character. Maybe I have an idea for me. But she still doesn't know because she doesn't know about Elaine's yet, does she?
No. Steve, am I reading this?
Yes. We haven't been that long.
Sorry, we had to break.
We did just break.
Stephen comes into the pub for another go at Jenny. And she says, "I'm busy. Why don't you ask Elaine?" And he says, "We're just friends, honestly." Jenny's not interested. Carla's doing a spreadsheet in the pub for some reason. And Stephen comes over and tells her that she's put everything wrong.
That didn't go anywhere, did it? It seems like maybe it's just going to be another way for him to get his job back at the factory again. Carly going, oh yeah, that's right. Remember that time he told me I was doing my spreadsheet wrong? I will definitely employ him. And why was she doing her spreadsheet there? Why would she be getting her spreadsheets wrong when this is literally her bread and butter? I don't really get that.
I don't think this is what's going on, but wouldn't it be interesting if there was some kind of very, very early mental onset, early dementia for Carla?
For Carla.
She's already
new story for 2023.
She's already not. She already needs, apparently, Jacob to go on a phone call with her and hold her little hand. And now she's doing spreadsheets wrong and not putting in gross profits or something. And
you could be right.
Refusing to put in
Save it for your predictions podcast in the new year.
Oh yeah, will do. Okay. Later on, Gail's chatting to Elaine in the bistro, and she orders a bottle of Canadian whiskey for Stephen, and tells Gail about this hip flask. And then Gail talks to Nick and says, "How come he's buying crappy hip flasks if he's so loaded?" I remember. Do you remember that thing?
It's also like, it's not just why is he, but hang on a minute, has he regifted this hip flask? Because apparently Elaine got him a hip flask. So I so something's definitely going on here. Why would you do this if he's loaded?
And also, I remember she says that Six Fellas call a few weeks ago. Does Stephen owe them money or something? Something's going on here. So Gail is walking along the road and she sees Elaine giving Stephen this bottle for his hip flask. And Gail says, "I've been speaking to Gabrielle. I want to know what's going on."
Yeah, that came as a bit of a cliffhanger, didn't it? A bit of a twist, because we didn't see this conversation between Gail and Gabrielle. So for her to come out with it was quite exciting for me.
But I know why she talks about this in front of Elaine. For story purposes, but in real life, this is such a crappy thing to do to your brother at Christmas.
No.
Like, publicly, what's the word?
Shaming and humiliating, and
about
outing him as a skinflint.
things and embarrassing him in front of his friend. So she says,
she takes him inside, doesn't she?
No.
Elaine is there as well, isn't she? You're right, because she's there in the kitchen going, "Oh, I know a secret about Stephen. Shall I say anything?"
Gail's saying, "Did you steal money off the company and run off a load of debts?" And he's like, "Well, it's complicated. It's not exactly what happened." And Elaine's like, "Stephen's being coercively controlled by Gabrielle." And I'd forgot he'd laid these.
Yeah, I had as well. But that's part of the problem with this story, isn't it? They're making these things happen and then going cold for a few weeks, and we have to remember all the details. I'm getting on. I'm getting talk about Carla getting it. I think I'm getting it as well myself. I'm going to be doing my spreadsheets all wrong. Don't trust the results of this year's conversations, Twitter Wars, I tell you.
I've had years of this. So Stephen goes along with agreeing that he's being controlled by Gabrielle, and Gail's falling for it hook, line and sinker, because Elaine is very earnest and convincing about this, isn't she?
Yeah.
Now Tim warns her later, Elaine, that she should not fall in love with the first person she sees, because he's worried that's what's happening with her and Stephen. So Gail goes back to number 8 with Stephen later, and he's saying, "Oh, I'm so relieved that you know that about this abuse.
Control. Yeah.
I feel like such a fool. I've put up with it so long." And then Gail's like, "Hang on, no, wait a minute, because there was that thing about Grasmere Drive. Did you have anything to do with that? The estate agent going around to value the property?" He's like, "No, I would never. I've got a conscience. I would not do that to my mother. I am the victim here." And then Gail's like, "But I thought Gabrielle took all your money. How have you got money to invest in Sarah's business and to send Mum and Sam off on a cruise?" And he's like, "I used the last bit of money I had left. How dare you question me?" And Gail's like, "Oh, we've got to go to the police then. That's the sort of thing you do if you're being coercively controlled and abused financially." And Stephen says, No, I've really tried. It's not going to help. Keep your mouth shut about it. Don't tell anybody." And Audrey comes in and she says that Gail's told her to come over because they need to desperately talk about Stephen. And then Gail realises that that Stephen doesn't want her to say this to Audrey. I don't know why she ever thought this was a good idea. So she swerves it and says, "Oh no, it wasn't so much about Stephen. It was about, we're going to miss you when you go on a cruise."
Well, yeah, she'd summoned Audrey as soon as she'd had that conversation with Gabrielle, I guess. So she was thinking the worst of Stephen, and we need Mum to know about this.
Well, especially considering that she suspected him about Grasmere Drive.
Yeah, exactly. But now she thinks she knows what the truth is. She needs to keep it quiet.
Yeah. So she agrees to keep mum. And Audrey just kind of believes them when they say they're going to miss her, which is a bit of a mean thing to lie to your mum about. Stephen's on the phone later at Gabrielle shouting at her, and she's like, ha 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 ha, what are you going to do about it? And he gets really serious with her, and he's like threatening her and things. And then he puts the phone down when he gets to number 8 to wave goodbye to Audrey and Sam. And Gail's like, oh, I don't like lying to me, ma'am. And Stephen says, no one needs to know. He's turning into Batman, isn't he, now? He ends up
your version.
My version of Batman. He ends up in the pub with Elaine later, and she says, can I talk to you, please? I really like you. And he's like, sounds good so far. And then she says, about that money, I don't think it's a good idea to lend it to you.
The money that he's going to be investing in Sarah's business.
I don't want to risk spoiling things between us. And he's like, great.
It's okay.
I don't mind at all. I'm not just in this for the money.
And that was the end of that. Yeah, so Stephen's funds have now been pulled, so he's back to the, I forgot what the word. Back to ground zero with it. You know, he's like, what's he going to do now? Because Sarah and Adam have gone off to Scotland for Christmas, haven't they? So they're going to come back expecting Stephen to be giving them this cash. But he hasn't got any anymore. So he's going to have to set his sights somewhere else. So it feels like Jenny could well be next person on his list. Although it seems like already as this week was going on, he was trying to cozy up to her, wasn't he?
Yeah.
But which I found odd, because up until this point, Elaine had been his cash source, but he didn't want anything to do with her, did he? Like, she was the one that was doing all the running and invited him around for Christmas and everything, and he was like, oh, well, if I must. Surely his plan should be to, you know, cozy
Keep
right
her
up
in
to
the
her.
good books.
Yeah, exactly.
No,
until she signs on the dotted line and giving him all this cash over.
I think he thought he's got it in the bag. He doesn't need. He's milked that cow. Now it's time to go to new pastures new.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like Jenny is going to be his next target. Whether that's his next target for murdering, I don't know. Presumably not. I mean, I think we could afford to lose Elaine in this storyline, but I don't think we're going to be seeing Jenny saying goodbye to her anytime soon.
Well, he fancies Jenny. He doesn't fancy Elaine, does he? He just wants her money.
Yeah. It was odd. I thought it was a bit odd that Jenny is now maybe fancying Stephen again, because she obviously fancied him enough to give him that snog a few months ago, but I never thought that there was anything, you know, genuine there that she feels like she wants to try again with him. I think it just felt a little bit convenient for plot that she's showing an interest in him again, don't you think? But anyway, I guess that he's going to be he's going to be doubling down on his wooing of Jenny Connor soon. Now,
interestingly, we saw Gabrielle on the other end of the phone in a car. In a very nondescript.
Well, yeah, in the rain as well. You couldn't see where she was.
In a very non-specific place. And it makes me wonder if she's actually in the country.
Well, she was supposed to have gone back to Milan, wasn't she, at this point? It doesn't rain in Italy at this time.
No, it never rains in Italy.
So I wonder whether she's there.
I think she's going to make a surprise appearance in New Year's Eve.
Do you reckon?
Yes.
Do you reckon Elaine or...
she's...
I hope that either Elaine or Gabrielle or somebody fall foul of Stephen, because my theory now is that, you know, he didn't get this roof box for no reason. I honestly think that there's going to be a corpse in the roof box of Audrey's car before the year is out.
Well, Gabrielle and Elaine are both very petite ladies. I think that they could fit in a roof box.
Yeah, he could crumple them up in there. If Jeff could get Yasmin inside his magic box, I'm sure that one of those two could end up in the roof box.
Why not?
And I don't know how long Audrey's supposed to be away on this cruise, but presumably it's only going to be a week or so, because Sam's got to go back to school in the first week of January.
This is Coronation Street.
Yeah, I know, but I think that they're usually quite good with school holidays at least, and we don't want Audrey fine, do we? So,
well, I think that they've built that into the budget.
I just think it would be brilliant to have Audrey driving her car around with the body of either Gabrielle or Elaine or somebody in the room.
Oh my God, that would be amazing.
Just imagine, because it was a stupid present for her to get. 'Cause, like, I can't remember who it was that pointed out the fact that Stephen doesn't have a car at the moment. Why on earth would she get a roof box?
Well,
I don't think it's there for no reason.
Can I just defend Stephen here then? He's being maligned for giving David a hip flask.
That's true.
I just think the plats are rubbish.
Yeah. Oh, that wonky duck there nearly had a slip of the tongue.
I think the plats are rubbish at gifts.
Yeah, I mean, if only Stephen hadn't seen this roof box, he maybe could have re-gifted that to David, because at least he could have made some use of it, I suppose.
I think David would remember.
Anyway, so I think and hope that something is going to be happening very soon there. And now Gail's on it. It's like, I think if I'm Stephen, I'm still not sweating too much, because Gail being on to me is not...
It's like amateur detective hour, isn't it?
Yeah. And I'd like to think that maybe this could be a bit more of a serious storyline for Gail, but I honestly, I don't think she's capable anymore. I think it's going to be a bit silly if she starts getting a bit serious. I don't think that she's capable of doing a serious storyline anymore. It's very, very sad. But she has been in the past, who knows? Anyway, that's quite exciting stuff.
You just
Watch
mean
out,
the character,
Jenny.
though, don't you?
Yeah.
Because Helen Worth is a very talented actress.
Yeah, she is, but we'll
Okay,
have to
don't
see,
say
won't
too
we?
much.
I'd say what I want. I haven't even had any more wonky duck. So back to the final few stories. We've got the Jacob's Dada story, which was Christmas Eve only, really. So Damon's trying to sweet talk Leanne into accepting Jacob on the team at the bistro, and he's like, I just want to be a good dad to him and help him find a job and everything. And Leanne says fine, but if he steps out of line, it's all over. Jacob then gets a load of money from Damon for spending on Christmas presents, because Damon's says that he should get him something better than a bottle of perfume for Christmas.
No, Jacob tells...
Yeah, Jacob says to
Damon tells Jacob...
Yeah, Jacob
Damon
says...
tells Jacob, buy your girl something better than this.
Yeah, he says...
Here's a load of money.
Jacob's really impressed with the fact that he's really proud of himself, that he's got Amy a bottle of perfume, and Damon's like, no, that's just the starter present. Just can't understand. I'd be on Jacob's side. It's like, yeah, she said she wanted something and I've got her it. Hooray me. But apparently that's not good enough. So he says, here's a load of cash. He gives him, £500 or so, doesn't he? To go buy Amy a handbag and various other presents. And he returns from the shops later with a handbag for Amy and a massive wooden chessboard for Sam, which he pretends he got out of his attic. It seems rather new, and if it's like wasn't it supposed to be something for a world championship? It seems like the sort of thing that they'd re-release new versions of every year, and Sam wouldn't fall for it. But anyway, the idea behind that is just to get into Leanne's good books, to show that he's not such a bad egg after all.
He's not such a bag egg.
But not a bag egg, no. And Leanne says to Nick, it's a good start, I suppose. Amy loves the bag. But Nick isn't happy with this, because he knows that Sam's chessboard was just that Jacob bought it, and he's just trying to curry Leanne's favour. And Nick says, I don't like tricks. I don't believe that at all. And the scene ends with Jacob very happy with his dad for making everything great. And he's like, what's next for us now? What adventures shall we get up to now, Dad and me? And Damon just ends the scene with an enigmatic smile. So that's basically it. We kind of ended with Jacob, with Damon having wormed himself into the bistro and all that, really. I assume you've not got anything more to add to that, because it was just the tail end of last week's story, as was the May Your Days Be Merry and Bry story. So, Gemma, what happened there?
It's Friday's episode, so
Yes.
it's pretend Christmas Eve.
Yes.
And Mary thought that they were going to do caroling, her and Glenda, but she can't because she's got to work. So Mary's upset.
She's got to go and do her thing on the Get Britain Singing on ITV3 tomorrow. So
yeah, Brian arranges to have dinner with Alex in the bistro, and Mary comes in and says, "Can you go caroling?" And oh no, it's a clash of schedules. At the bistro, Alex senses that Brian's in a rush, and Brian admits that he's supposed to be caroling, and then Alex says, "You go and carol. Like, I'll do you a solid. I'm your wingman." So
there's a fist bump with him, doesn't he?
Mary's sadly
cool.
singing outside number 9, and Brian comes and joins her, and they sing together, and then they end the episode coming into the Rovers to have a little sing song.
Yes.
and they're dressed up in cool
Victorian garb,
Scroogey kind of.
That was quite nice, I suppose. I'm surprised it didn't go anywhere. It kind of was leading into, is there going to be some sort of Christmas passion between Mary and Brian? But I suppose that was all tied up with Fiz and Tyrone and Daniel and Daisy. So I guess that's the story for the new year. It was sweet. I thought it was nice when Mary was singing all sadly, and then Brian comes and they join in with gusto there. And we got to see a rare appearance from Alex as well. Making his fourth appearance on Coronation Street this year, maybe. So I guess that's nice if you're an Alex fan. I shrug at that. And that's basically it. And everything else was just, what did the other characters get up to on Christmas Day, including Zidane's back, Gemma? Have you missed him?
I didn't know he went.
I think that was generally the feeling, that nobody realises he actually went anywhere. But apparently, and I did a little bit of research on his last appearance, he, on the 4th of November, was summoned to London, or one of his mates came along and said, do you want to come and cook with me in London?
Oh, I remember that vaguely now.
I don't even remember that. Sorry, Zidane.
So I remember thinking, why?
But yeah, so when he sort of put his face around the door on the Christmas Day episode, I was just kind of left a bit confused about that. But there was still a lovely happy scene, and Zidane was actually smiling in it. So
I didn't recognise him.
There's a rare appearance, and Yasmin being very excited was lovely. And yeah, but apparently he's just back for a flying visit. And
what's going on there then?
I don't know. Has Zidane left Coronation Street? I literally don't know.
Is Zidane quiet quitting Coronation Street?
Oh yeah, maybe he is. Yeah. So I don't know what's going on there. And we also find out over dinner that Yasmin and Stu are going to be delivering food for the homeless on Christmas Day. Very charitable. Sally says to Tim, "Oh, we should do that sometime." They did actually, Sally did have a Christmas Day at a soup kitchen about 7 or 8 years ago, didn't she? When Maddie got the trifle over her. But, oh well, I guess she's forgotten that. And we also had Tim getting his jacket back. So that's the end of that epic saga there.
Happy Christmas.
Happy Christmas.
We get to see Alfie.
Yes, Alfie. We got our first proper look at the little chubby cherub, didn't we?
Aww,
as he was opening his Christmas present. That was nice. The Browns all got a load of drums for Christmas. I'm sure there were still only 3 quads that that showed their faces on the Christmas Day episode, so I don't know where the 4th one was, but they've all got drums. And Joe, I thought it was nice that Joseph got his trainers, because that's what the story at the beginning of the year was all about, wasn't it? Him wanting some cool new trainers, and he got a nice blue pair, so that was lovely.
It's still the ones he wanted.
Yeah. Speaking of seeing babies, we also got a shot of Glory, didn't we, on the floor with Aggie over at number 3. Lovely stuff. She won't have a tipple before work because she's a very responsible nurse, and
she don't want to kill again.
No, and Roy's got a mobile phone from Nina for Christmas.
Yay!
Like clearly a second-hand one, because it's got a case in it and it's not in a box.
Well, she didn't really want it, but then by the end of the day, he's using it to take a photo of
up his
Fiz
nose.
and Tyrone. Yeah.
I love Roy's expression. He's kind of looks off, clearly, utterly like, I do not want this present.
I know.
But he doesn't quite know how to tell them. But anyway, so that's quite interesting that he's finally joined us in the 21st century.
It's weird though, because I would have thought that if any character would have been the first one to get a mobile phone, it would have been him. Like with his nerdy, like, oh.
I don't think he's nerdy in that way. No,
but sometimes he is.
He likes his. If it was a steam-powered mobile phone, maybe he'd have been out for that.
You're right.
But I think if it's anything electronic and computer, it's not his bag, baby. So that was the end of the Christmas weekend worth. So it's not even a week. It's just the last 3 episodes that we've seen. But as a Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, and Boxing Day offering, what's your overall reflections on it? We said at the beginning wanted a bit of a twist or a surprise or a shock or something. You still sticking by that?
I think it was good. It was a good week. I thought it was a fairly decent Christmas. I don't feel like I can really judge it properly because I'm not all that bothered about Tyrone and Fiz getting married. But if you like the characters, that was probably quite nice.
It just felt very safe.
Yeah, you're right.
Safe and pleasant.
Yeah.
Which is fine, and people I've seen online saying, oh, Coronation Street shouldn't be all doom and gloom at Christmas, and people are saying no, it should be doom and gloom at Christmas. I just feel like there should have been something that was a bit of a, it's Christmas, so we're going to drop a bombshell of sorts, and there wasn't one.
Yeah, you're right though. It's a bit disappointing from that perspective.
But from a heartwarming side of things, it was fine. I just couldn't be doing with old Chris Pringle. Thought that was taking it a step too far, to be honest.
I thought the George with the sofa was funny.
Yeah, so. It's fine. It was fine. That's the best I'm going to say to it. Coronation Street. It was a fine Christmas 3 episodes. I think ranking them or judging them, giving them a score, I'm going to go with, it's Christmas, so I'm feeling generous. I'm going to give it 3.5. 3.5 deviled eggs for Nick.
That was really funny.
5.
Who was it? Shona and
David are going to be force feeding him deviled eggs because apparently
he said he liked them once, and now they have to make a dozen for him every time he comes out. I like deviled eggs as well. Really, really like them. I'm going to give it 3.5 as well because it really is a 3, but it's Christmas, so it's 3.5. I'm surprised you didn't give him an extra mark for Fiz and Tyrone getting married.
Well, no, maybe that's what it was for. Who knows what my extra half is for?
3.5 giant festive boobs.
Okay, fine. Character of the week for me.
Oh, it's difficult.
Sorry,
there was 70.
Chris Pringle.
How many?
We've got 67 plus
people
to choose from here. It's
and Chris Pringle wasn't even one of them.
No, exactly. I think maybe. It was nice seeing Evelyn back, although she's only made a very brief appearance. I don't know whether character of the... It's not even a week we're talking about here. It's a character of the weekend, really.
Well, it was 3 episodes.
Yeah. Stephen was getting a bit more interesting.
Convinced by
I'm
Gail's
still not
detective
totally
work.
convinced by his or his villainy. I need him to step it up step up his game a bit. I think I'm going to say I am going to give my character of the week to the lovely Fiz, just because I thought she looked very nice in her dress, and she was very, she made it to the Christmas wedding in time, and that was about it really. I don't get any other reasons, but I just like Fiz, and it's Christmas. What about you?
I am going to give mine to the character. I don't know what I'm doing here. I don't really know.
Is it Tyrone, Gemma?
It's not Tyrone.
Please tell me it's Tyrone. Is it Daniel Osborne?
No. Honestly.
Is it Elaine? Is it Alex?
I'm going to give it to Evelyn.
Okay.
Because I was really happy to see her back on Christmas Day. I thought that was nice, and she had some funny lines still.
Everything that she had to do, she did very well.
Yeah, and it's always nice to see her, and she's very funny.
Well, there we go then. And that is the end of this week's Street Talk.